You can make a difference in their lives by getting involved in one of the many volunteer programs that the Center for People in Need offers. For more information, please visit centerforpeopleinneed.org.
At the Lincoln Children's Museum, learning isn't boring, it's an adventure.
Wow, this is so cool!
See apple trees and honeybees in the orchard. Fill up a cart at the kid-sized grocery store. And now you can learn about agriculture in our all-new Here We Grow exhibit. Our exhibits aren't just playgrounds. They're hands-on learning environments built to spark your little one's imagination.
Mom, can we come again next weekend?
The Lincoln Children's Museum is open Wednesday through Sunday.
Visit our website and see all the ways to play at lincolnchildrensmuseum.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Nebraska Communities Theater now introduces the Young Artists Collective Hickman Theater, or the Yacht Club if you're cool. In 2025, the Yacht Club aims to engage kids in a variety of artistic disciplines with monthly workshops. We offer 2 summer boot camps and a summer production of Willy Wonka Jr. Find more information and register today at neplayhouse.com/youth. The Yacht Club, where dreams set sail.
Did you know Nebraska only had a recycling rate of 9% last year? It's one of the lowest in the country. We can do better than that. Did you also know that 75% of all aluminum ever made is still in use? It doesn't take a miracle to reuse resources. Every time you go to throw something away, think first. Is it recyclable? Keep it green and help bring Nebraska's rate up again, and recycle your cans, papers, and plastics. Look for the designated recycle bins in buildings across the UNL campus. There's a message from the UNL Office of Waste Management and Recycling.
Do you believe in free speech and access to unbiased information? Libraries provide resources any person can access for free, yet they are at risk. Libraries are under threat from restrictions and funding cuts, and 93.5% of people haven't heard of the organization that's defending them. Every library exists to defend our right to information. Join the fight for free access to knowledge at www.everylibrary.org. Your voice matters. Protect our libraries, protect our democracy.
Every night, hundreds of people in Lincoln face the cold without a place to call home. But at People's City Mission in Lincoln, we provide shelter, food, and a pathway to stability. Your support can make a world of difference. Whether it's a donation, volunteering your time, or simply spreading the word, you can help change lives. Because when each of us does a little, we can change a lot. Visit the People's City Mission website at pcmlincoln.org to help people in need.
Hello? Hello?
Wait, what? Who is that?
I'm here to help.
Hey, I'm Husker Tech. Let me see if I can fix your laptop. There you go, all fixed. For all your technology needs, go to Husker Tech for a free checkup or estimate. Located on the first floor of the City Union.
Growing up, I would go home after school to a safe environment, easy access to food, and older siblings who would help me with my homework. This is not the current reality of many middle and high school age students in the Lincoln area. But thanks to the Lighthouse, thousands of students have the opportunity to experience these things that help them thrive in school. By doing so, students are set up for success in their future. With your support, the Lighthouse continues to provide a safe environment for the growth and development of the students in the Lincoln area. Go to lincolnlighthouse.org/donate to give today.
The calendar has officially flipped over to March, which means we get to taste our first little bit of the madness that will treat college basketball fans for the next month or so, right here in Indianapolis, Indiana, as the Nebraska Cornhuskers and Indiana Hoosiers kick off the 2026 Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament, right here on KRNU Sports. Good afternoon from the Hoosier State here in the Media Wedge above the beautiful Big Ten Tournament hardwood inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse, home of the Pacers and the Fever, and alongside my broadcast partner, my partner in crime, Beck Frazier. I'm Harmon Johnsen. Beck, let's just begin today by saying what a pleasure it is to be bringing live coverage of today's game and any future games that Nebraska might be involved in during this weekend.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Gainbridge, we were walking around before we even got in here, and you can see, I mean, the Big Ten has decked this entire place out. They've even gone to change some of the street signs. You had Cornhusker Boulevard. You had Duck Place for the Oregon Ducks. They had all 18 teams out there. Big Ten Lane was one of them. And even just the inside, they've got the Big Ten logos everywhere. March is on. You can see that in a couple of places. And everybody talks about how we've lost the pinwheel this year. The color pinwheel, which was a fan favorite last year, has been replaced with just the Big Ten logo on the floor. But it looks clean. It looks nice. But yeah, the fact that we're even here is a testament to where Nebraska basketball has gone so far this season, in which it was looking like a season, just a little bit ago, Nebraska was on the verge of not even making it.
Correct. Yeah, Nebraska was one of those last couple of teams that solidified their spot, a win over Washington on the road and an upset over what is probably an NCAA tournament team, a pretty good one at that. Solidified their place here in Gainbridge and Indianapolis. And I'll say this: I give you a lot of credit for driving the whole trip yesterday. It was a long trip from Lincoln to Indianapolis, but we're here. We've got a night of sleep in us, and we're ready for what should be a jam-packed weekend, regardless of how long we are here. Nebraska, of course, if they win this game, would have to go up against Ohio State, the number 5 seed, and Ohio State's been a great team all year. They're borderline one of the top 16 seeds in the women's tournament once we get later into March. Indiana, on the other hand, they come in as a 13. This is their home state, but probably not the spot they wanted to be after the trip up from Bloomington.
No, not really. They closed the season out with a 17-13 record, a Big Ten record of 6-12. Not exactly the season you wanted. However, they ended the year pretty strong. They ended the year on a 3-game win streak, 1 game better than Nebraska did. Nebraska obviously had a 6-game losing streak before they went and won their last 2 games of the year. But for Indiana, I think winning those last 3 games sets you up pretty well for today and potentially the rest of the tournament. That's a lot of momentum that you're carrying in. I mean, this team was basically 500 3 games ago at 14-13. So if you can take those 3 wins in now, you have a very experienced head coach in Terry Morin, who's in her 22nd season overall as a head coach, her 12th at IU. I mean, she has more than enough experience to get this Indiana team to where they need to be.
Yeah, it would have to be for either of these teams. Like 5 wins in 5 days is not easy. And, of course, we start today on a Wednesday to get this tournament underway. This is the first game of the Big Ten tournament this year, and I'm really excited to see the environment here in this one. We'll break down the rest of the tournament bracket when we come back as pregame rolls along. We're getting ready for Nebraska and Indiana, the 12 seed versus the 13 seed here in Indianapolis at Gainbridge Fieldhouse for the 2026 Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament. Come right back.
Fires. In reality, it's the smoke. Smoke inhalation kills nearly 4,000 people every year. While you sleep, the silent killer will fill your home. You will never hear, smell, or see it coming. Smoke can kill you in 3 to 4 short breaths, but a working smoke detector can save your life. There are 2 types of smoke alarms available, ionization and photoelectric. To learn more about smoke alarms and other safety tips, go to the Nebraska Fire Marshal's website at sfm.nebraska.gov.
Since the very beginning, you've made sure to take good care of your baby. You've done everything right, but breastfeeding isn't going the way you imagined. This is where Milkworks jumps in, offering support for families in the Lincoln community. To help families in need, become a monthly donor for the Balanced Beginnings Fund. You can help a family provide milk for their precious little one without stress. With Milkworks care programs, families can feel confident in feeding their growing family. Become a monthly donor today by going to milkworks.org.
Welcome back inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana, alongside Beck, Frazier. I'm Harmon Johnsen as we inch closer to the start of the Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament. Let's get you set up for the rest of today and then what to look forward to tomorrow if you're one of the fans of seeds 5 and below. Obviously, the 1 through 4 seeds will not play until the quarterfinal round on March 6th. That is Friday. So today, game 1, you have Nebraska and Indiana, obviously, as we're getting ready for. After us, about 25 minutes later, it'll be the number 15 and the last seed that made it, Wisconsin, taking on Illinois. Not too far away, Illinois, expected to have a decent crowd here. And then to close out the night, it'll be number 14 Purdue and number 11 Oregon. So quite a few of the regional teams are going to be playing tonight, looking to advance on to tomorrow. The first game tomorrow will be number 9 USC and number 8 Washington. A couple of West Coast teams coming out to play a 12 o'clock Eastern time tip, so 9 o'clock on the bodies. Hopefully they're here today. They probably got here last night to try and have a chance to acclimate to the time change. The winner of our game that we're getting ready to do right now will take on Ohio State about 25 minutes after the conclusion of USC and Washington. Ohio State, like we mentioned, a team hungry, a team ready to get into the real deal of the March Madness tournament. And then the game 6 after that will be at about 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Michigan State, the number 7 seed, awaits the winner of Wisconsin and Illinois. And then the last game of the day, game 7, is number 6 Maryland, waiting for either Purdue or Oregon. Obviously, if we get to Friday, it's UCLA to start the day against the 9-8 winner. Game 9 is Minnesota, who will face either Indiana, Nebraska, or Ohio State, one of these 3 teams in this part of the bracket. Iowa awaits Michigan State, Illinois, Wisconsin. Michigan awaits Maryland, Oregon, or Purdue.
Yeah, it's going to be what it could potentially be when we get down to Friday and Saturday. Potentially the toughest Big Ten tournament that we've ever had in the conference, and even with the addition of USC, Washington, Oregon, and UCLA. I mean, UCLA has been very good at women's basketball in the past, but I mean, since they joined the Big Ten, they basically ran the Big Ten the past 2 years. USC for a while was there too. They're having a little bit of a down year. That's why they're in that 9-8 game. But for UCLA, this is their tournament to lose at the end of the day. Iowa could make some noise. You could see, it technically wouldn't be a bid steal because they're both going to make the tournament here in a couple of weeks. But could somebody come in and upset UCLA? I think your likely team to do that could be a Minnesota or an Iowa. So, this road for Nebraska and Indiana may or may not be the easiest road per se, but they've got some tough matchups coming up. Ohio State and Minnesota, that 4-5, those are not 2 easy games that you have right after this one.
And you look at the format this year, the women's coaches voting to stay with only 15 teams making it. Obviously, if you followed the men's side of the Big Ten, everybody qualify. There's an extra day there as well. They'll start on a Tuesday in Chicago next week. It's a little bit different format. Obviously, there were 3 teams that were left out. Rutgers was one of them that Nebraska just faced to end the year and blew them out by almost 40. I don't know if you say, if you're Rutgers, you're happy you didn't make the tournament because they did not have a great year, or maybe you're a little upset. You see your men's team go, even if they have a down year, and have a chance to win 6 games in 6 days and have a shot at the final the competition in the later part of March. But this is definitely, with the expanded Big Ten, a new bracket that we're not used to seeing.
Well, I'll tell you one team that's got to be upset is this Penn State women's team. They were on the verge of making the Big Ten tournament, but they faced this Indiana squad. They couldn't get that final win. If they would have won that game and everything else stayed the same, they would be playing this Nebraska team right here today. That's how the tiebreakers worked out. So it was either they were the 13 seed or they were going to be out of the tournament.
And it would have been a revenge game for Penn State, who dropped their first Big Ten game of the year this year to Nebraska at home. The Huskers put up 100 on the Nittany Lions, a shorthanded Nittany Lions team before the addition of volleyball player Maggie Mendelson made it back, but a strong end to the year for Penn State. They just missed the tournament by a few minutes, I would assume, in that game. Just that's how the season rides.
It was a little bit more than a couple of minutes. That final score for that Indiana-Purdue game, or excuse me, Indiana-Penn State game was 93-59. But we've kind of seen that so far. A lot of these teams in this women's tournament have a lot of blowout wins. but they've also got a lot of blowout losses and a lot of close losses. Nebraska and Indiana are almost the same team on paper when you look at the stats.
Gainbridge Fieldhouse starts to fill up just a little bit. This is the earliest of the 3 games today as both teams are out on the floor warming up. We've got about a minute left on the timer, Beck, before we start player introductions and the national anthem. Let's focus back onto this game. Huskers and Hoosiers met up once at PBA this year. Nebraska came out on top, but it was not by much thanks to the impressive performance of Shea Chesky.
Yeah, so first off with Shea Chesky, impressive is almost understated. She played all 40 minutes of that game. She didn't get subbed out one time. She put up 31 points. She got 4 assists. She turned the ball over 4 times. That's something we'll talk about here in a little bit. She had a couple of rebounds to go with it as well. But if Nebraska is going to win this game, they are going to have to shut down Shea Chesky and pretty much the rest of this Indiana offense. I mean, you have players on this Indiana squad. You have Maya Makaluski, who's coming off a Big Ten freshman team. You have Shea Chesky. You've also got Zanaya Shaka-Newman, who in that game put up 19 total points. And on the season, Shaka-Newman, she's only averaging about 12 points a game.
So here we go. We get ready. The teams are out. We're going to take a break for the national anthem, and we'll come right back to get you starting lineups and get you the first tip of this game between Nebraska and Indiana. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Indiana and Nebraska, the first round of the Big Ten tournament, right here on KRNU Sports on YouTube.
However, Lincoln's homeless cats rely on the kindness of volunteers at the Cat House to escape the Nebraska winters. Our safe no-kill shelter and adoption center cares for Lincoln's cats of all sizes, health conditions, and temperaments. Donate today at thecathouse.org to save another life.
It's now time for today's Welcome back inside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Alongside Beck Frazier, I'm Harmon Johnsen as we get set for the starting lineups in the arena. Let's bring you the starting lineups for both of these teams. First, for Indiana, who will be the visiting team as you see it. It doesn't really matter. It's a neutral site game, but Terry Morin will send out these 5 to start on the floor. Nevaeh Caffey, the freshman from Warrenton, Missouri. She wears number 2, has played in all 30 games. Maya Makaluski has played in all 30 as well. Only started 20 of them, though. The freshman from Fishers, Indiana. Lene Beaumont, a redshirt sophomore, will be at the guard position wearing number 5. She's started all 30 games this year. Number 8, Edessa Noyan, will be in the lineup today. Only 19 starts on the year. The Swedish forward from Boyarta, Sweden. She was also at Virginia a couple years ago. And, of course, rounding out that lineup, number 10, Shea Chesky. Only missed 1 game this year. She started in every other game, missed the USC game during their West Coast trip. So, again, for Terry Morin, it's number 2, Caffey, number 3, Makaluski, number 5, Beaumont, number 8, Noyan, and number 10, Chesky. Here in the Big Ten tournament, Indiana all-time 23-30, one of the original members of the Big Ten.
Yeah, so they have a lot of experience in this Big Ten tournament, but we were talking earlier about how both these teams are basically identical on paper. The biggest difference that these teams have is Nebraska's scoring almost 80 points per game. Indiana's only scoring about 72 points per game. That's the biggest difference. They're about even on rebounds. Assists, Nebraska is actually second in the Big Ten with 18 per game. Meanwhile, Indiana 17th in the Big Ten at 12 per game. That's another thing that could make or break this game today.
Indiana comes in at 17-13 on the year, 6-12 in the conference. Nebraska, the 12 seed. Amy Williams will trot out Logan Nisley, number 2, the junior from Bismarck, North Dakota. Petra Bojan will get the start as one of the bigs. Callan Hake, the senior, honored at her last game at PBA last Saturday. Number 14 from Victoria, Minnesota. Britt Prince will also start. No-brainer there. Prince, 29 starts this year from Elkhorn North High School in Omaha. She wears number 23. And Amaya Hargrove rounds it out for Amy Williams. Cornhuskers making her 10th start on the year. She wears number 33, leads the team in rebounds per game. Again, for Nebraska, Nisley, Bojan, Hake, Prince, and Hargrove. Amy Williams in her 10th season. 18-11 overall this year. That 6-game losing streak really hurt. 7-11 in the conference.
Yeah, 7-11 in Big Ten play is not exactly what head coach Amy Williams wanted to see. But I think the more important stat here for Nebraska's record is how they've played on the road this year. They went 3-0 at neutral sites, 2-7 on the road, though. Yes, this is a neutral site, but you almost have to consider it a home game for Indiana because we're in Indianapolis.
Nebraska all-time in the tournament, 12-11. They did win back in 2014 over Iowa. Let's get you set up here. Indiana wearing the road reds with white Indiana across the chest, white numerals. Nebraska wearing the home whites, red numerals. Petra Bojan will be in the center circle alongside Nevaeh Caffey to jump it up. Nebraska and Indiana. Here we go. The start of the 2026 Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament. As we settle it up in the center court, now we're underway. Bojan wins the tip. Nebraska moving from left to right as we see it here in the auxiliary media seating. Callan Hake takes it up. Now at the top of the key is Logan Nisley. Britt Prince, hair flying behind her, working against a screen from Bojan. Mid-range jumper at the elbow. Good. Nebraska leads 2-0, 15 seconds into the game.
And Nebraska needs to come out with a hot start here today, but both teams need to. This is going to come down to who can protect the ball more.
Noyan working at the near side wing. Now moving inside Chesky, standing on that near side wing, moving from right to left. Pulls up at the top of the key. The 3 ball on the way, rattles around, but falls away from the cup. Indiana misses their first shot from the floor. Now Prince pushes it up the middle of the floor. Bojan top of the key, pump fakes a 3. Instead, she'll pass it off to Hake in the near side. Moving back to the center court logo, Prince fakes a handoff, driving inside, right block, puts it up, fouled on the way. 2 free throws upcoming for the Cornhuskers' leading free throw shooter.
Yeah, Britt Prince on the year has been so good for Nebraska in terms of free throw shooting, averaging at 90% on the season. She's 91 for 101.
Noyan charged for the foul, so the first foul of the game. Prince swishes the first one. You mentioned that free throw percentage. At one point this year, she had made 56 consecutive free throws in conference play. That set a Nebraska record. 2 for 2 goes Britt Prince from the stripe. Nebraska leads it 4-0 early, just about a minute gone here. Token pressure applied by Nebraska as bringing it up the floor is Caffey. Caffey crosses over now at the top of the key. Makaleski looking for Chesky. She has it, being guarded by Callan Hake on the near side wing. Steps into Hake, looking for a screen, instead refuses, driving right hand behind the back, free throw line, left elbow, now at the left block, shoves one up towards the backboard, it's fought for, rebound loose, now hauled in by Callan Hake for Nebraska, pushing in tempo. Hake stops, looks for Nisley, driving baseline on the left side, puts up with the right hand, and it falls through. 6 early points for Nebraska, 8:40 to go.
This is exactly the start Nebraska needed. They've come out quick in their last couple of games, and this is the point in the season when you need these quick starts.
Caffey nearly fumbles it on the far sideline, but able to recover and get it to Chesky. Drives, crosses over at the elbow. Her floater good. Indiana's on the board at 6-2. Nebraska in front.
Chesky, she had 31 points like we mentioned in that game against Nebraska. Her season high, though, 38, so she's had multiple 30-plus point games so far this year.
Prince finds a cutting Hargrove from the free throw line to the left block. Amaya Hargrove on the board. It's 8-2 Nebraska. Now moving in front, Beaumont. Stepping at the top of the key, picks up her dribble, looking for help, guarded by Hargrove. Now resetting, Caffey looking towards her bench. The benches are on our side of the floor, contrary to what you normally see. If you're watching on the Peacock broadcast, it's flipped. Now driving, Chesky pulls up at the three-point line, off front of the iron short. Rebound hauled in by Logan Nisley. Nisley brings it across the right side of the floor. Looks for Britt Prince on the far side wing. Looking inside, Mid-court area for Hargrove. Steps in the middle of the lane on top of the charge circle. Puts it up. It's wide, but she's fouled. Second foul here for Indiana, and another trip to the line for Nebraska.
Yeah, Indiana so far, all 4 of their shots have been taken by Chesky. And look, Chesky, she's your leading scorer. She's probably going to lead the team today in scoring. But you have to find a way to get other players involved on offense.
Maya Hargrove at the stripe. 80% free throw shooter this year. First one pure. 2 subs come in for Nebraska. Logan Nisley and Petra Bojan check out. Kennedy Williams in for the first time, as is Jess Petrie. Hargrove misses the second. It's 9-2 Nebraska. 7:36 to go here in the first quarter. Makaleski driving across the timeline. Now gets it over to Beaumont. Beaumont driving against Hargrove. Still working, middle of the lane. Now they flip it off to Noyan, who puts it up with the left hand and puts it through. The Swede on the board, 9-4. Callan Hake driving over on that left side. Now up to Kennedy Williams, top of the key. Nebraska going to play a lot on the perimeter without their big Petra Bojan in the game. Prince crosses over to her right side. Now Hargrove all alone in the near side wing. The 3 is good. 12-4. Nebraska started off hot.
First 3-pointer for Nebraska today, and not typically what you see from Amaya Hargrove. She'd only taken 52 shots all year.
Chesky got all the way to the rim, and then she chose to pass it to the top of the key, but on the way by Callan Hake. Who else takes a charge for Nebraska, leads the team in charges taken, the senior with the smart play, and it's back to Nebraska basketball.
Now that's the 3rd foul in the first 3 minutes for Indiana.
Already in foul trouble is Terry Morin's squad. Inadvertent horn here, but we play on as Kennedy Williams brings it slowly across the timeline. Britt Prince gets it on the wing, now moves to the left side elbow. Her jumper rattles in and out. Petrie goes for the rebound, and a foul going to be called as Petrie is shoved out of bounds. If this is Indiana, this is their 4th.
That is their 4th.
Beaumont charged with the foul. That is her first, so nobody's picked up 2 yet, but the next foul will send Nebraska to the free throw line for the remaining 6:30 in this first quarter.
Yeah, you can't do that when you're only allotted 5 fouls every quarter.
Baseline out of bounds. Haight gets it into Prince. Now looking on the left block. Petrie drives inside, takes 2 steps, avoids the travel, needs help, kicks it out to Prince, far side wing. Prince with 10 on the shot clock. Looks up, now into the free throw line. Euro steps through with the left hand off the window. Britt Prince, a nifty play. Nebraska up 10, 14-4. 4 minutes into this first quarter.
Britt Prince already up to 6 points on the afternoon. 2 for 3 from the field along with those 2 free throws.
Beaumont trying to settle down Indiana. And now a foul called off the ball underneath the rim. We'll see who this is on. It's on Nebraska.
That should be on Kennedy Williams.
It is. Williams, the freshman from Lincoln, coach's daughter. So a fresh 20 on the shot clock for Indiana as Chesky takes it out. Chesky going to get it off the handoff on the inbound. Now looking underneath. Here's a shot by Noyan, right hand off the window, good. Great design play in and out with the pick and roll for Chesky and Noyan. And now Callan Hake gets it into the offensive front court for Nebraska, picks up her dribble on the near side wing. Petrie, middle court, standing on the Big Ten logo on the free throw line, puts it up with the left hand, falling away. Jess Petrie gets on the board, 16-6. Nebraska back in front by 10.
Indiana has to find a way to respond here. They're currently 3 for 6 from the field, so not a bad start for Indiana, but they have to find a way to get other players going.
Noyan sets a screen at the top of the key for Chesky. Chesky takes a baseline jumper, no good. Rebound hauled in by Petrie. Now up to Williams, standing at the middle of the floor, going inside the circle. Kicks it out to the top. Petrie now puts it back inside. Amaya Hargrove unmarked, and a timeout for Terry Morin as Nebraska's out to an 18-6 lead, less than 5 minutes into this first game of the Big Ten tournament. The exact start you wanted if you're Amy Williams, and the absolute worst-case scenario for Indiana.
Yeah, and for Indiana, their best player, Shea Chesky, shooting 20% right now. She's a 53.7% shooter on the year. So she's not having a great start to this first quarter, but Indiana as a whole isn't really either. They're 3 for 7, 0 for 2 from three-point range, along with 4 fouls early.
We're going to take a quick break as timeout called on the floor. Nebraska leads at 18-6, 5:15 to go in the first quarter. We'll be right back here on KRNU Sports on YouTube. Welcome back inside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. Alongside Beck, Frazier, I'm Harmon Johnsen. This is Game 1 of the 2026 Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament. You're listening here on KRNU on YouTube. Thanks for joining us as we made the trip out to Indianapolis. Glad to bring you a presentation of this game. Nebraska out in front 18-6, 5:15 to go in the first quarter. You look at the Huskers, Petrie with 2, Prince with 6, Hargrove with 8 after 18 on Saturday. And for Indiana, Chesky only held the 2 points, Noya on the other 4.
Yeah, and Chesky's had open looks. We just saw it right before the timeout was taken. She had an open look basically right at the left side of the foul line, and she missed it wide right. So she's had the open looks, she just hasn't been able to get them to fall.
Terry Morin takes her first time out of the game, and now she gets her team into the front court offense. Beaumont looking for somewhere to go. She was standing at the top of the key for forever. Now Chesky gets a screen from Noyan. Noyan driving inside, right block, middle. Now stands on the charge circle. Too strong off the window. Offensive rebound for Indiana. That's put back by, that was Chesky. She flew in. Couldn't see the number. We're so high up. And now an offensive foul going to be called on Nebraska. We'll see who this is on. Emily Fisher in for the first time. Now that's her foul.
Yeah, and for Emily Fisher, she hasn't seen a ton of playing time so far this season with the Cornhuskers, but they're going to need every single player today to get through to this next round. Emily Fisher, you can't be fouling right as you get into the game.
Makaleski off the turnover, drives into the free throw line and hits a 2. It's 18-10 Nebraska in front. About 4:20 to go in the first quarter. Fisher now going around the horn to Logan Nisley near side. Nisley left-hand dribble, now hands off to Prince. Prince getting a screen from Petrie. Looking into the middle of the floor, not there. Now Petrie posts up on the left side block, spins, fades away. Another one for Jess Petrie. That's her shot. It's 20-10, Nebraska in front.
That's her shot indeed. She's nailed both of them, now up to 4 points on the afternoon.
Moving in the half court, Nevaeh Caffey. And an offensive foul for Indiana. This one's going to go against Makaleski, who did not stop on a dribble handoff.
Oh, and that's their 5th foul of the first quarter. So for the next 4 minutes, Nebraska's shooting free throws.
Yeah, the offensive foul doesn't put you to the line, but you're right. 5 fouls for Indiana as they try to work into get into a rhythm. Prince slowly across the half-court stripe. Now Petrie standing on the far side wing. A cutting Hargrove has the ball knocked away by the foot of Shea Chesky. So it'll be Nebraska basketball on the baseline with 20 seconds on the shot clock. Beautiful blue baselines, by the way. Black Big Ten Conference on the baseline. You've got the checkered flag in the painted area representing Indianapolis Motor Speedway, of course, as the baseline inbounds comes to Jess Petrie. It was Nisley throwing it in. Britt Prince nearly loses the basketball up near the half-court stripe, and now this is going to be a backcourt violation as Prince could not get a good hand on the pass to Petrie.
This is a break that Indiana needs. They've started to get into a rhythm here as the first quarter has gone on. Just a slow start for the Hoosiers, but now with trying to cut the lead down to single digits and see if they can, potentially tie it or take the lead before the end of the first.
3:34 to go until the end of the first quarter as Chesky hands it in to Noyan. Noyan now back out. Makaleski thought about it 3. Instead, she gets Callan Hake off of her with the arm. Now passes it to Chesky. Left side block. Floater no good. Rebound hauled in Jess Petrie. And now a reaching foul going to be called on Chesky. That's a frustration foul. She missed the shot and immediately went hacking on Jess Petrie.
And that's foul number 2. That's the first Hoosier that's picked up more than 1 foul. And Chesky, if she can't be the player that fouls out for Indiana.
So Jessica Petrie will make the slow walk down to the other end of the floor to shoot the free throws. Nebraska in the bonus for the remaining 3:21 of this quarter. Huskers are 4 of their last 4 from the field. And so far on the day from the line, 3 for 4. The only miss by Amaya Hargrove. First one for Petrie is good. 76% free throw shooter.
And Nebraska is one of the best free throw shooting teams in the Big Ten. They're 3rd at 79%.
2 for 2 goes Petrie, only averaging about 11 on the year. Was that you messing with our buzzer, Beck?
Yeah, I was right above the start-stop for the clock.
Chesky moves it in to the right side block, doesn't have a shot, kicks it out. Makaleski, quick trigger 3 on the way, didn't even draw iron, too strong off the backboard. Britt Prince hauls the loose change, and now Hake moves in transition. Going to the free throw line, standing on the Big Ten logo. Hargrove posts up her defender, puts it softly off the back of the rim, and it falls through. 24-10, Nebraska leads. We've still got 2 minutes and 45 seconds in the first quarter. Driving inside, Caffey trying to get a shot off. Missed it short off the bottom of the rim. Indiana all out of sorts. Now Nebraska trying to push it in transition. Prince inside to Hargrove again, this time with the left hand. Nebraska is unstoppable right now, 26-10.
This is one of the hottest starts that Nebraska's gotten off to over the course of the entire season. 26 points with still more than 2 minutes left.
6 of the last 6 on offense. Nebraska scoring 8-0 over the last minute 40. Now on offense, Indiana. Beaumont driving towards the baseline. Callan Hake drew another charge. This time on the left block. Beaumont picks up the foul. And it's another turnover on the Hoosiers.
And now that's 3 different Hoosiers with more than 1 foul in just the first quarter. Beaumont, Makaleski, and Chesky all have 2 fouls.
Makaleski checks out. Journey Kiyaku checks in for the Hoosiers. Terry Morin trying to find some combination that works on the floor right now. Kennedy Williams drains most of the 10 seconds in the backcourt, bringing it up. Now Logan Nisley looking for a curling Hake. She's going to try to drop it off to Bojan, but doesn't have it. Now back to the top of the key. Kennedy Williams resets. There's 10 seconds on the shot clock. Screen coming from Bojan. Williams driving to the elbow. Looking for Bojan now, posting up in the charge circle. She stands inside. Lost the basketball, got it back, but then it's stolen away by the Hoosiers. Pushing it across the tempo, Beaumont now spins into the middle of the lane, puts it up. She's fouled by Hargrove. Chance at the line for Indiana.
Finally a chance for Indiana to put something up on the board here. For Nebraska, the last 2 shots that Bojan put up were the second and third misses for Nebraska in this quarter. Before that possession, they were 10 for 11 from the field.
So Lene Beaumont, redshirt sophomore from Lisle, Illinois. First free throw rattles off. That's just the story of Indiana in this first quarter. Beaumont, an 86% free throw shooter this year. Redshirted last year after knee surgery. Has played in all 30 games, now 31 to this point. As she makes the second one, cuts it 26-11, just over a minute 30 to play in the first quarter. For just joining us, Nebraska has gotten off to the hottest start of the season right now. 26-11 they lead. Now on offense, Hargrove over on the far side wing now to Kennedy Williams. Gets a screen from Bojan. Williams driving to the right block. Looks for Bojan, posted up again. Puts it up right hand, too strong off back iron. Rebound hauled in by Odessa Noyan. Chesky's back into the game. She's got 2 fouls. Noyan streaking all the way down the floor. Her floater good. Didn't use the backboard, but got all she needed. It's 26-13. Noyan leading the scoring for Indiana. Under a minute to go in the first quarter. Bojan hands it off to Nisley. Huskers trying to put the final nail on this first quarter. Callan Hake curls around to the right side block. Now driving baseline is Amaya Hargrove. Gets it off the pass from Hake. Her shot off the side of the iron, no good. Rebound hauled in by Kiyaku. Now Chesky pushing it across the timeline. Chesky looking for an open Noyan. Her 3 on the way, no good. Not the best shot for her. 28% shooter on the season. Now 4-second difference between shot and game clock as we have 22 on the shot clock. 26-13. Huskers trying to hold for what could be the final shot of the quarter. Callan Hake dribbles it back towards the center circle. Now Kennedy Williams with 10 on the timer. Looking for a screen on the left side from Bojan. Now gets it on the right. Williams with 6. Williams with 5 going underneath in the corner. Logan Nisley drains a 3. 29-13. 2 seconds left. 1 on the clock. The shot at the buzzer by Kiyaku. She is fouled. A mistake by Nebraska as Kiyaku is going to get 3 free throws to end this first quarter. But how about the shot from Logan Nisley?
Logan Nisley just trying to put this game away in the first quarter. This is really similar to the start that Indiana had against Penn State, where they put up 31 in that first quarter, but now it's the complete opposite for the Hoosiers.
So the officials are going to the monitor here. I think they're going to look to see.
Walking foul on number 15, White. That play is under review. While at the review, we will also look to see if the foul occurred
So that, you might have heard that there on our crowd mic. They're looking to see if the foul was committed before the clock hit 0, because if it doesn't, then it's not a foul.
Yeah, interestingly, we saw this with a different Nebraska team just last night when Price Sanford committed a foul, but it happened after 000s at the half.
And so we'll see what happens here. Nebraska currently leading 29-13. It was a late three-pointer by Logan Nisley. She's up to 5 points now to get the Huskers to this position. Just a unfortunate play, I would say, for Kennedy Williams. She didn't quite know where Kyaku was. Now, Williams did reach in right at the end as Kyaku was going up. So, especially being the coach's daughter, that's a foul you don't want to commit at the end of a quarter.
Especially for your second foul of the game.
So they did rule that the foul occurred before 000s. There'll be 0.9 on the timer. And so we'll have free throws with everybody in the lane. Had it happened as the clock was hitting 0, we would have had just Kyaku at the free throw line. It's kind of a different feeling being at the free throw line by yourself.
It's got to be, right? Because you don't have your teammates, and it almost feels like it's a little bit quieter.
Not the case here, as 4 Nebraska Huskers are in their respective spots. Kyaku misses the first. A 69% free throw shooter from Garner, North Carolina. She's a senior. Has been around a while. She was at Duquesne and NC Central before finally ending up at Indiana. Second one goes through, 29-14. 0.9 on the clock. You don't really expect to see anything happen here, but third free throw good, 29-15. And now Nebraska just looking to get it inbounds. Prince will let the clock hit 00, and that is the end of the first quarter. A hot start from the Nebraska Cornhuskers against the hometown Hoosiers. They lead it 29-15 here in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. We'll be right back for the start of the second quarter here on KRNU Sports on YouTube. Welcome back inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse, the home of the 2026 Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament. Alongside Beck Frazier, I'm Harmon Johnsen. Nebraska ends that quarter with maybe one of the best quarters they've had, 29-15. Logan Nisley hit a three right at the end before the foul occurred on Kyaku that gave them 2 bonus points at the free throw line. Nebraska 11 of 16 from the field. That's unprecedented for a start in the first quarter.
It is, but we have to remember, Nebraska started that quarter 10 for 11. So they end the quarter 1 of their last 5.
Indiana starts the second quarter with the basketball as they try to get something going, down 29-15. Kyaku stays in the game. She's working against Amaya Hargrove. Now kicks it inside. Edessa Noyan almost wasn't ready for it. Still corrals it, but puts the shot off wide. Now Nebraska getting in the defensive rebound, moves in transition. Petrie looking inside. Hargrove unmarked again. Indiana losing track of Amaya Hargrove. 31-15. The Huskers in front by 16.
Well, they just flashed it for all the people inside, but the assists, that was one of the things that I mentioned that could be.
Callan Hake with a steal. Goes behind the back. Nebraska will pull out. They don't have numbers. Haley Weaver into the game for the first time. Now Britt Prince resettles. Sorry, Beck. Nebraska just wanted to interrupt you. Prince, short floater. Off the back iron. Rebound hauled in by Jess Petrie. She's still fighting for it, and they're going to say she traveled with it. She was trying to pass it out to Britt Prince, but took an extra step on the way. Amy Williams arguing whether or not Petrie had full possession or not, but either way, it's a turnover back to Indiana.
Yeah, definitely looks more like a judgment call there from the referee. But what I was going to say was one of the things that this game's going to come down to is how well both teams can assist. Indiana not really known for their assisting numbers on the season. They're 17th in the conference at about 12.5 assists per game. They only have 3 right now. Meanwhile, Nebraska has 9.
Kyaku blocked at the right block as she was driving in by Hargrove. Now Britt Prince goes in transition. Petrie steps up with a 3. It's long off the back iron and rattles into the hands of Indiana. Both teams moving at lightning speed. Beaumont cuts inside on the Big Ten logo. Her shot too strong. Out of bounds, Jess Petrie. It'll stay with Indiana.
Indiana, the biggest thing so far, and we saw this a lot in the first quarter, was when shots aren't going in, it seems like they're almost putting up desperation shots. Instead of waiting for the plays to develop, they're just chucking up shots from all around the court.
Caffey inbounds it for Indiana. Kyaku gets it up to Chesky. Chesky with her 2 fouls has to be careful the rest of this contest. No fouls yet in this quarter for either team. 8:25 to go. Chesky pulls up at the free throw line and sinks it. It's 31-17. Let's see if that gets Chesky going.
Chesky held to only 2 points in the first quarter on 1 for 6 from the field.
Prince driving to the free throw line herself. Now finds Hake on the near side wing, dribbles into the corner. Now looking for a screen from Hargrove. Back to the top, Prince. Prince with 13 on the timer. She's going to pull up from distance, and she's going to drain it. Nebraska hits another triple as they're up 34-17.
Nebraska 3 for 4 from three-point range so far. Indiana 0 for 4.
Caffey moving in front of Nebraska's bench. Again, we're flipped. We're on the opposite side if you're watching and synced up the radio call with the TV. Here's a shot from Chesky. It's long off the side iron from the short corner. It's hauled in by Petrie. Now Prince taking it in transition. Nebraska likes to do this and run. Petrie thought about a 3. Instead, she's going to lob it inside for Hargrove, who has to wrestle for it. Hake, a long-range 3. Strong off the back iron, hauled in by Noyan. Indiana moves with some tempo. Chesky thought about a 3. And now back to Beaumont, slicing inside against Hargrove, powers one up with the right hand and puts it home. 34-19, Indiana trying to cut into the Nebraska lead. Callan Hake settles over in front of the scorer's table. Britt Prince working out of the top of the key between the circles. Prince gets a screen from Petrie, nearly loses the basketball. Hargrove in the near side wing in front of Indiana's bench. Pump fakes, no good. Now it's out to Prince. Prince driving with the left hand, slicing inside. Her left hand layup no good. A couple of hands in on the rebound attempt. It goes out of bounds off of Indiana. It'll stay with the Cornhuskers.
Yeah, for Indiana, when we saw it right there, we've seen it a couple times where Amaya Hargrove's been wide open in the paint. You have to find a way to stop Nebraska from cutting inside, cutting around these lanes, getting to the back of the baseline, because we've seen it on almost every single possession so far.
Trio of subs come in for the Cornhuskers as Prince gets the baseline inbounds on the right block and puts it home. It's 36-19. Bojan back in the game. Fisher in the game for Nebraska. Logan Nisley as well. Nebraska out of sorts defensively as Nisley and Makaluski fight for it on the baseline. Makaluski forced out of bounds. And so this will be a foul on Nebraska. Logan Nisley charged with the infraction as Kennedy Williams checks in, completing the substitution for Amy Williams.
Yeah, just Nisley's first foul of the afternoon, but multiple players so far with multiple for both teams.
Leanne Beaumont comes back in for Indiana. And now the Hoosiers with the baseline out of bounds. Chesky receives. Dribbles to the top of the key, working against Kennedy Williams, a staunch defender. Williams has it, or Williams steals it rather. She falls down, keeps the dribble alive, and gets it to Logan Nisley, who brings it safely across the timeline. Looking inside, Fisher. Now back up to the top, Beaujean thought about a three, but wisely hands it off to Callan Hake. Hake gets a screen from Fisher. Too big set for Nebraska. Hake pump fakes free throw line. Instead kicks it out to Williams. Williams going cross court. Here's Logan Nisley driving baseline. She gets it up to Emily Fisher, who puts it home off the window. And another timeout going to be called by Terry Morin as Nebraska is up 38-19 with just about 6 minutes left in the second quarter.
That taking 2 timeouts in the first 15 minutes of play, if you're Indiana, you can't have that because now you have 2 timeouts for the rest of the game. You got 2 timeouts for the next 26 minutes, and you're still down 19 points. But let's go back to that Kennedy Williams steal there for a second. If there's one matchup that Kennedy Williams is going to win all season long, it could potentially be this one with Shea Chesky. Shea Chesky's only 5'7", and meanwhile for Kennedy Williams, she's not that tall either. She's only 5'4". For most of the season, she's been going up against players who are closer to that 6-foot range. So for Kennedy Williams, you got to be feeling pretty good if you can shut down Indiana's best player.
Taking a look at some of the stats in this one as they take immediate timeout on the floor. We're going to stay here. Our ads aren't working like we want them, so we don't want to get you confused with the silence. Logan Nisley for Nebraska, 5 points. Emily Fisher with 2. Only 2 on the floor for Nebraska with points right now. Everybody else getting a rest on the bench. Prince with 11. Harker with 14 already. She had 18 on Saturday. She's looking for a new career high. Nebraska 20 points of their 38 in the paint.
If you would have told me that was how this game was going to go, I don't think I would have believed you. But at the same time, you have to recognize Indiana's defense. Their defensive numbers so far this year haven't been astonishing. Sure, they've been about the same as Nebraska's, but they haven't been doing very well in terms of protecting the ball, and we've seen that so far with Nebraska picking up 2 steals in the first 14 minutes. That's actually a bit lower than what they've been so far this season, but for Indiana, you have to keep protecting this ball, and you can't be putting up open shots. A couple we've seen from Chesky and missing. Sometimes she's not even hitting the rim, so you have to be confident in these shots that you're taking, open shots at that.
For Indiana, it's been scoring by committee. Everybody that's played a minute has points, but the difference between Nebraska and Indiana right now, Caffey with 2, Makaluski with 2, Beaumont with 3, Noyan with 6. She leads the Hoosiers, the big in the middle. Chesky with 4, and then the one player off the bench so far today for Terry Morin, Journey Kiyaki with those 2 points at the free throw line. They just haven't been able to get anything going.
Yeah, they haven't. They're 8 for 21 from the field so far today. And on the season, Indiana's a 47% shooting team. This is not a team that you're going to expect to shoot 38% from the floor, but that's just how this afternoon has started so far for the Hoosiers.
So after the timeout from Terry Morin, we're back here at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. It'll be Caffey bringing it across the timeline. That token pressure being applied by Nebraska. Same 5 on the floor that I just mentioned before the timeout. Now up at the top, Beaumont kicks it over to the far side wing for Kiyaku. Looking for help is Noyan out on the perimeter. Now a back cut by Nevaeh Caffey. That's a stellar play over on the left side. Gets her 4th point of the day. It's 38-21.
Indiana's going to need some big quarters coming up here to try and take this lead away from Nebraska.
Logan Nisley, an early shot clock attempt. It's off the back iron from the free throw line. Indiana in transition. Chesky cutting across to the middle of the lane. Pulls up for 2 from the free throw line. That's the shot she needs to hit the rest of the day. 38-23, 5 minutes to go until halftime. Beaujean looking inside for Fisher. Doesn't have her. And now Callan Hake resets at the top of the key. 3 subs getting ready to check in for Amy Williams. Callan Hake pulls up from 3, long, but long shot, long rebound falls into the hands of Logan Nisley, a fresh 20 for Nebraska. Kennedy Williams directing traffic as she gets a screen from Beaujean on the right side. Williams passes it into Beaujean. Now she gets bumped on the back cut as she got the ball back. Now back to Beaujean, right block too strong, and it rims off. 38-23 still. Indiana pushing in transition. Beaumont Kicks it all the way across court to Caffey, who drives into the middle of the lane. Kiyaku now receives it as she goes to the free throw line and backs out. Not a lot of mid-range shots so far for Indiana, as Caffey gets a screen, now driving all the way to the right block, and she put it up too strong. Easiest layup of the day for Indiana, and it misses. 38-23, Nebraska in front, 4:17 to go. Fisher with it inside. Bojan's going to try a three. Her shot is short. Rebound fought for. Emily Fisher up with it. She lays down with it, tries to pass it to Kennedy Williams, but it's deflected by Indiana. Scrappy play is now with numbers are the Hoosiers. Looking inside, no yawn, and a miscommunication as Caffey throws it out of bounds. It's back to the Huskers with 4 minutes till half.
At Nevaeh Caffey, she had great awareness on the other end of the court to get it out away from Kennedy Williams. But you can't throw the ball away like that. You had an opportunity to cut the lead down. You're down 15. Every opportunity you get from here on out, you have to take advantage of.
Amaya Hargrove, Britt Prince, and Jess Petrie back into the game for Nebraska. A lot of subs for Amy Williams, not so much for Terry Moore. And Prince driving inside. Now she kicks out. Nisley, three again, no. Rebound fought for, and it's off the hands of Odessa Noyan. Stays with Nebraska with 20 on the shot clock.
And Nebraska, has no points in the last 2 minutes and 17 seconds, and we've seen that through their shooting percentage down to only 52%.
Only 52%.
Only 52, but it was at 65 at the start of the quarter.
Prince hands it off to Petrie, driving inside. Now free throw line jumper for Hargrove. She drains it. Nebraska to 40 as they're up by 17. 3:30 to go until halftime. Kiyaku slows it up. Hoosiers going to have to try to end this quarter on a run. Otherwise, the halftime break might be too late. Doyon looking for somewhere to go. Chesky guarded well by Hargrove, and now they get it to Kiyaku on the near side wing, right in front of Amy Williams. Kiyaku kicks it over towards Caffey. Now back to Kiyaku, going cat and mouse at the top of the key. Shot blocked by Noyon underneath. She gets an offensive rebound and puts it up too strong off the window. Nebraska with a chance to go up by 20. Prince driving inside, right block, Euro step off the window with the right hand. 42-23, the Huskers lead by 19. 2:52 to go till half. Shea Chesky working against Callan Hake. Might have gotten away with a shove. Ball bobbled underneath on the pass to Noyon. Now back to Chesky. 16 seconds on the shot clock. Indiana resets at the top of the key with Beaumont. Beaumont with the left, now the right. Kicks it out. Caffey, her long three on the way. Off the side of the iron. Nebraska saves it before it goes out of bounds. Callan Hake gets credit for the rebound. 2:25 to go until the break. Petrie looks for Prince. Now Prince has it on the Discover logo on the near side of the court. Prince gets it back. Crossing over on the left side. Puts a floater up. No good off the side of the rim. Rebound hauled in by Caffey. She's going to take it herself across half court and get it to Beaumont. Now Makaluski driving inside, blocked from the back by Jess Petrie. And Nebraska goes in transition with 2 minutes to go.
That one almost looked like a punch from the back. Looks like she punched that ball right out of the hands.
Indiana 0 for their last 5. They haven't scored in 3 minutes. Nisley gets a screen from Petrie and airballs a deep three as she stepped back Harden style. Turnover back to the Hoosiers. Uncharacteristic for Nisley.
Yeah, a little bit, but so far today she's been pretty good. 2 for 5 from the floor. She's got 5 points, a couple of rebounds, a couple of assists.
Haley Weaver checks back in for Nebraska, the senior guard, transfer from Northwestern. She was also celebrated at Senior Day last Saturday in the win over Rutgers. Caffey looking for Chesky, has her on the far side wing, refuses a screen to the left, instead drives to the middle of the lane, puts it up with a right hand, good. Shea Chesky doing Shea Chesky things. It's 42-25, Nebraska still in front. Callan Hake has it on the far side wing, hands it off to Britt Prince, moving on a weave action, cuts inside. Hargrove shot up, blocking foul, and one. Hargrove puts it home. That's 18 points. That ties her last game. And she has a chance for one more to put the Huskers up by 20.
Amaya Hargrove is having a career day so far. She's only missed one shot. She's 8 for 9 and 1 for 1 from three-point range.
Only the first foul on the Hoosiers. Only 2 fouls been called in the second quarter on either team. Hargrove 1 for 2 today, make it 2 for 3 as the Huskers are up 45-25 with just over a minute to go until the halftime break. Unprecedented from the Cornhuskers to start here in this first game of the Big Ten tournament. Beaumont gets a pass from Chesky. Now back to the top of the key to Noyon. Noyon hands it off to Chesky, clears out some space as well, and Chesky drains her three. First make from distance for Shea Chesky, 45-28. Nebraska on offense with 50 seconds to go.
First made three for the entire Hoosier team today.
Little two-man action with Prince and Hargrove. Hargrove goes a little bit too deep, though, and the pass from Prince is stolen away. Moving in transition, Caffey, left side, spins to the backside. Runs into a brick wall of Jess Petrie. Now out to Chesky. Stops. Tries to pop. Weaver defends it well, and Chesky misses it strong off the glass. And now the shot clock, a 2-second difference. 24 seconds to go until halftime. Huskers again going to try to hold them for that last shot. They had success in the first quarter as Logan Nisley hit a three as the buzzer expired. She's on the bench right now. Britt Prince at the top of the key with 7. Prince trying to work against. Now Petrie with 4 on the clock. Shot is short. Rebound off of Indiana. Britt Prince poked it away from Shea Chesky. And now the official corrects himself as that one looked clearly like it was off of Britt Prince. Chuck Gonzalez, one of the 3 officials, along with Gina Cross and Cameron Inoue. 1 second on the clock. This time, Kiyaku takes the shot and is not fouled. And we head to the halftime break with Nebraska out to an unprecedented 17-point lead, 45-28 over the 13-seeded Indiana Hoosiers.
It might be a 17-point lead right now, but for Nebraska, you have to continue this momentum into the second half. You lost a little bit of it towards the end of the second quarter, and Indiana got some of it back. One of the biggest things for Indiana, though, you didn't win the quarter in terms of points scored, but honestly, that was in large part to just because of Nebraska's ability to get inside the paint. You have to protect the paint against this Nebraska squad. They're going to abuse it. They're going to abuse you inside of the three-point line. Today, though, they're struggling from outside the arc. Only 1 for 8 in that quarter after starting the first quarter 2 for 2 from range.
And so we hit the halftime break, 15 minutes to catch our breath. Indiana going to have to find some fire as Nebraska out in front by 17. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll be back. If our ads work, they work. If they don't, we'll just be silent for a few minutes, but we promise we're coming back here with some halftime analysis. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the 2026 Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament here on KRNU Sports on YouTube.
Prepare yourself, you're about to witness a true athletic legend. That's right, standing just 8 inches tall, but playing like he's 8 feet of fury. Put your hands together for America's favorite wiener dog, Roadhouse.
Welcome back inside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse here in Indianapolis, Indiana. It's halftime between Nebraska and Indiana here in Game 1 of the Big Ten Tournament. That's Beck Frazier. I'm Harmon Johnsen. Wow. Hot start for Nebraska. We expected a close game in this one based on the last meeting these two teams had. It was decided by less than 10 points. But Nebraska leads at 45-28, and they've gotten some really big shots from some of their contributors. Amaya Hargrove already besting her output in points from Saturday's game. She had 18. She's got 19 in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, and there's a real possibility. There's a universe that exists where Amaya Hargrove hasn't missed a shot today. She's only missed one and one free throw. 19 points, 8 for 9 shooting. Only one shot from three-point range, but she hasn't needed to do much from beyond the perimeter because we saw it multiple times throughout the first half where Indiana would just lose track of who's supposed to be on what assignment, and Hargrove is just standing there underneath the basket, and players like Brett Prince and Jess Petrie have been able to find her underneath there for an easy two points.
Her career high in points is 26. That came back in December against Penn State, a team that Nebraska almost faced had the Nittany Lions beaten these Indiana Hoosiers in the last game of the year. We'll see how that pans out, averaging 12.7. Obviously, she's over that. Nebraska, though, only averaging around 79 points over the season. That average has gone down since the last couple of weeks, even during that losing streak they were on. But this is a team that put up 100 points 3 times in the early part of this year. They've never done it 4 times in a season. They're essentially halfway there with 20 minutes to play. They're going to have to keep their foot on the gas, but this is a Nebraska team that's looking to make a statement here at the start of this Big Ten tournament and potentially go on to live to see another day and see Ohio State tomorrow.
Yeah, and they lost to Ohio State earlier this year, and that score was 90-71. But we've already seen it in this game. The previous game apparently doesn't matter because that was a 5-point game between these two in Lincoln earlier this year at the start of January. 17 points here, as I don't think what anybody saw coming at halftime. But that's in large part to just the slow start that Indiana had coming out of the gate. They only scored 15 points in that first quarter, and 2 of those points were off of a foul committed right at the end of the quarter. Indiana, they've just got to play some better defense. You can't allow, possessions where Amaya Hargrove is just standing underneath the basket with nobody around her. You can't allow that. And credit where credit is due. They cut down Nebraska's scoring. Nebraska scored 29 in the first quarter. They only scored 16 in the second. So they're down in scoring. So does Nebraska hit 100? Maybe. But I would say the opposite's going to happen here in the second half. It would not surprise me at all if Indiana, kind of gets a fire lit during this halftime break and they come out and they put up potentially 20 points in this third quarter and Nebraska doesn't. It might be close, but if Indiana can carry a strong third quarter into a fourth quarter and Nebraska doesn't, this could be a very different game with maybe 5 minutes left in that fourth quarter.
Shea Chesky for Indiana is finally in double figures. She's up to 11 points on 5 of 12 from the floor. She made a 3 there in that second quarter. We'll see if that gets her going. She's obviously been the fire for Indiana most of this year, 23.2 points a game. Something that Indiana is dealing with, though, is for a majority of this year, especially in the middle part of the year and now at the end of the year, they've been without their leading rebounder, Zanea Saka-Guman, who was averaging 11 points a game but had an injury earlier this year and is out for the indefinable future with another foot injury, something she's dealt with for every year of her career so far.
You mentioned the points, but the rebounds is, I think, honestly more important when it comes to Saka-Guman. She was averaging almost 9 rebounds a game. That was the most by far on this Indiana Hoosiers team. The second closest in terms of rebounds per game was Odessa Noyan, and she's at 5.5 coming into this contest.
Looking at the rebound battle today, Nebraska 22 of them, 6 offensive. Indiana only 14 with 3 offensive. These are a couple teams that are towards the bottom in rebounding in the Big Ten Conference. You look at offensive rebound, Nebraska's at 16 coming into this one. Indiana dead last. You look at defensive rebounds, Nebraska in the middle of the pack, Indiana at 11. But the rebounding margin also a big number there. Nebraska still positively out-rebounding their opponents by about a half a rebound. Indiana is actually giving up about 1.5 rebounds a game to their opponents. That's certainly been part of the difference, but most of the difference has been just some wide open looks for the Cornhuskers in this one. As we get ready for the start of the third quarter, would like to remind you that these next 2 weeks are very, very busy for us at KRNU. Obviously, we're here on YouTube, somewhere we're not normally streaming, because over back in Lincoln at Pinnacle Bank Arena, starting today and through Saturday, you've got the NSAA Girls Tournament. The third session will start in about an hour and a half, maybe about 2 hours. My time change is throwing me off. Yeah, 2 hours and a half. 6 o'clock, it'll be Class A quarterfinals, Kearney and Lincoln Southwest, Omaha North, Omaha Westview on KRNU 2 at PBA, and then at Devaney on Mixler, you can find the D2 quarterfinal games, Red Cloud, SEM, Fall City Sacred Heart, and Wynot. Tomorrow, it's a full slate of day for the NSAA Girls Tournament. You've got D1 quarterfinals, C1 quarterfinals to start the day, Class B, Class C1, and then Class B and D1 to end the day. Every game at PBA is on KRNU 2. Every game at Devaney is on Mixler, so feel free, check those out. If Nebraska wins in this one, which if this score holds, they will, Beck and I will be back here in Gainbridge Fieldhouse tomorrow at around 1:30, 1:45-ish. The first game of the day is supposed to start at around 11 Central Time, noon local. And so you got to figure 2 hours for the game. And then about 25 minutes after that, it'll be Nebraska and Ohio State, who is awaiting the winner of this one. So if Indiana can come from behind, they would face the Buckeyes. That'll be right here on the YouTube stream. Beck will be on the play-by-play. I'll be taking his second-hand job. And then you can tune in to the NSAA Girls Tournament later that night as well. Friday, again, same scenario. We'll have basketball all day on KRNU and Mixler. And if Nebraska could beat Ohio State tomorrow, they'll take on Minnesota. And that would be, again, at around 1:30 here on the stream. Saturday is a fun one. We have our first baseball game over the air on the year. That'll be on Mixler. Nebraska and Michigan State at noon. Colin Dolvan and Brody Heidemann. And then men's basketball is at 4 o'clock for their regular season finale. Bobby Hessling, Justice Rohde, and then Blake Mace will be the pre-half post. That'll be on KRNU 2. Obviously, the rest of this weekend, if Nebraska can continue to win, we'll be back here on the stream. And then next week, it all starts again because we'll have the boys tournament for high school. We'll have the Big Ten men's tournament in Chicago starting on what looks to be Friday right now if Nebraska can secure the triple bye. Very slight chance it might be Thursday, but right now it's leaning towards Friday. Danny Berg, Matt Malloy will be on the call. My apologies. And we'll have baseball and softball that weekend as well. Glad you can be with us. We're going to have over 120 broadcasts over the next 2 weeks before spring break. And even during spring break, there might be a chance we do baseball. So we're staying busy. It's the way we like it. We're just so glad to be here kicking it off here in Indianapolis.
Yeah, no better time than crossover season. That's what everyone says. You have it in the fall with basketball, volleyball, football. Now you've got it here with basketball, softball, baseball. It's a wonderful time of year. It's a little chaotic in terms of getting people everywhere, but I mean, just having the ability to do what we do with the equipment that we have is something that you can't really take for granted.
No, we appreciate it. We're going to say this again probably the entire weekend we're here, but huge thank you goes out to Jamie Wentz, our chief engineer, for getting us the gear, getting us set up, and Bill Dolman for coordinating this. Our sports directors, Beck, you're one of them, Danny Berg, Hayden Gary. It's just great to be around and get this going. So we got about 2 minutes, 45 seconds before we tip off the second half. We're going to take a short break and then get you ready for the final 20 minutes of play. This has been halftime coverage of Nebraska and Indiana here at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The 2026 Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament rolls on as we will come back shortly. Welcome back inside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse as we get ready for the third quarter of action between Nebraska, the 12 seed, and Indiana, the 13 seed. Beck, Frazier, I'm Harmon Johnsen. Nebraska leads at 45-28. They started off hot. They stayed pretty good throughout that entire first half, but Indiana did have a small little run there at the end of the second quarter. Shea Chesky up to 11 points. We'll see how that helps them as they get started here in this third quarter. Beck, anything you're looking for as we have 20 minutes left to play?
The biggest thing that I'm looking for is honestly from Indiana. What I want to see, I don't want to see desperation shots. We saw a lot of those, especially from Shea Chesky in the first quarter. She had some open looks, put up some shots, couldn't get them. She had some contested looks that probably shouldn't have been shot, and she tried to take them. You have to let the plays develop if you're Indiana. Even if that means taking every second of the shot clock that you're offered, you have to take it. Another thing I want to see, protect the paint against this Nebraska squad. Amaya Hargrove, 19 points. About 6 to 8 of those have just been wide open buckets underneath the basket. That's a huge swing if you don't allow those points. Now Nebraska, this is only, instead of a 17-point lead, this is potentially a 9-point lead for Nebraska.
Amy Williams Cornhuskers lead it by 17. They're 18-11 on the season, 3-0 in neutral floor games. Terry Morin's Hoosiers trailing. They're 17-13 on the year, 1-1 on a neutral floor. We'll flip sides. Nebraska will start with the basketball, wearing their home whites. Indiana wearing the road reds. White numerals for the Hoosiers, red numerals for the Huskers. As now Nebraska will be moving from right to left as we see it. If you've synced the radio call with your TV stream, they'll be moving the opposite direction. Callan Haight gets the inbound. Logan Nisley on the handoff. Now they get it to Britt Prince, top of the key. Getting a screen from Bojan. Prince into the free throw line. Bojan bobbles it. Has it stolen away by Shea Chesky. Good start for the Hoosiers, as no shots up yet here in this third quarter. Moving around to the top of the key is Beaumont, being guarded out by Hargrove. Good on offense. She's had some decent defense today as well. Maya Makaleski with the ball now. Passes up to the top of the key on the logo is Shea Chesky. Moves to her left, being guarded by Bojan. Major height difference there. Now they kick it inside, and a foul going to be called on Logan Nisley, who was overmatched guarding Odessa Noyan in the paint. Nisley picks up her second foul. Nobody in any major foul trouble for either team, but Indiana had quite a few in that first quarter. Inbound comes to Caffey on the far side wing. They're moving from left to right as they stand on the right side of the floor as we see it up in the media wedge. Chesky at the top of the key with 10 on the timer. Guarded by Hake, refuses the screen, goes left. Chesky puts up a deuce, gets it hit on the arm on the way up, but she puts it through somehow. Cuts it to 15. Indiana with 30 on the board now. 45-30. Nebraska leads with a minute gone in the third quarter. Nisley pumps it up towards Prince on the elbow. Prince left alone by Noyon. The shot is short. Didn't look like she had quite the strength she wanted on that. As now Chesky goes in transition. Beaumont looking inside. Instead, she'll drive inside. Onto the left side block. Puts it up too strong. Rebound tipped out by Bojan. It's into the hands of Noyon. And an offensive foul going to be called. Looked like for a second maybe a travel, but Noyon stuck her arm out and got Bojan. And it'll go back the other way.
That's a tough break for Indiana, who has kept Nebraska scoreless to the first minute and 15 of this third quarter. You have to take advantage of every opportunity, and you can't be getting, silly fouls like that one.
7 turnovers for the Hoosiers. Nisley gets it off to Prince in front of her bench. Prince going to pull up from 3 as she's left alone and swishes it. Back up to a 17, now 18-point lead. Nebraska leads at 48-30. Minute 30 gone in the third quarter. Britt Prince on fire alongside Amaya Hargrove. Shea Chesky driving in, gets fouled and one as she puts it high off the left side of the glass. Chesky taking over for the Hoosiers as she's up to 15 points.
Head coach Amy Williams showing her displeasure with that foul call. I don't think she's really sure exactly what the foul was.
It's on Bojan, her first. Chesky completes the three-point play the old-fashioned way. She's up to 16 now. Tying her counterpart on the other side, Britt Prince. Leading scorer in the game is Amaya Hargrove, still scoreless in this second half. 2 minutes gone by here in the third quarter. As now Prince on that near side wing again. Nebraska likes to operate that way. Gives Prince driving lanes to the right. She kicks it out. Nisley, 3-ball, rattles home. 51-33 Nebraska. Nisley puts home another. That's her second. Moving on offense, Indiana. Makaleski gets it to Chesky, being guarded by Hake, driving to the left side block. Steps through into Hake, tries to draw contact, no whistle. It's out of bounds off of Noyon, and Nebraska gets the ball back. A lot of physical play.
A ton of physical play. Chesky tried to get the foul. They're not going to get called. Callan Hake, though, she's one of the best at drawing those charges. She tried to draw the charge again, but couldn't get it.
Prince to Petrie. Standing at the top of the key between the circles. Hargrove finds an open lane, but it's off of her fingertips and into the basket stanchion. Out of bounds, a turnover back to the Hoosiers. Now both teams with 7.
Credit to Amaya Hargrove. She had completely beaten Makalewski underneath the basket. And once again, that's one of the things I said that Indiana's got to keep an eye on is where's Amaya Hargrove?
Noyon swings it around to Caffey over on the far side wing, guarded by Prince. Right-hand dribble. Now Chesky at the top of the key between the circles. Looking inside for Beaumont. Beaumont pulls up at the free throw line. Nothing but nylon. 51-35. Indiana still finds themselves down big. 3 minutes gone here in the third quarter. Prince driving baseline right hand. Sheds her defender. Too strong off the window, but the rebound goes out to Hake. Now a shot from Nisley off the reload. Off the side of the iron and out of bounds. Nebraska moving a little bit quick.
Yeah, they're moving a lot faster than they did in the first half. And I think if you're the Cornhuskers, you've had kind of a rough start to this third quarter. Slow it down a little bit. Slow it down to the pace where you had it in the first half. Because right now, Indiana, it's only cut down by 1, but they've got the lead down by 1 since the half.
Driving inside was Beaumont, but the ball poked away from the backside by Britt Prince to save a bucket. Beaumont had the basket wide open. And so it'll be Indiana ball on the baseline. Looking to get it in, Caffey. She drives on the baseline on the right side, throws up and under shot, but it's blocked by Petrie, and it falls into the hands of Logan Nisley.
Now you have to know where the opponent players are. Petrie was going to block that all day long. She just has a massive height advantage.
Prince driving, stops, kicks it out to Petrie in front of her bench. Her 3-ball, short off the side iron, hauled in by Beaumont. Kicks it ahead to Chesky. Thought about an NBA 3, but instead will drive against Hake. Top of the key now, Makaleski. Onto the Big Ten logo, now to the charge circle, and she double dribbled. 8 turnovers for the Hoosiers as another silly mistake on Terry Morin's team.
You have to wonder where this game would be right now if Indiana didn't have 8 turnovers. They're leading the steal battle, which a lot of people I don't think expected. They have more steals than Nebraska does, and Nebraska's a much better stealing team.
Quite a few shades of red settling in here at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Some orange as well, as Illinois scheduled to play later today. Kennedy Williams at the top of the key, nearly traveled. Gets it off to Prince, though, before she steps down again. Prince resets top of the key. Now Hake curling inside. Got the touch off the backboard. Ball nearly came off the front of the rim. It's 53-35. Nebraska back in front by almost 20. They've held this 15 to 18 point lead quite a bit since about the midway point of the second quarter. Caffey gets it up to Makaluski. She lines up a 3 and rattles it home. Maybe that will spark the Hoosier bench. 53-38. About halfway done here in the third quarter. Williams hands off to Prince. Gets a screen from Petrie. Prince just going to take it all the way to the cup herself, and it rattles off the side iron out. A save attempt by Petrie going out of bounds on the baseline. And then the ball trickles out over on the sideline to go back to the Hoosiers. Good effort.
It's a really good effort from Petrie. I'm just unfortunate she couldn't keep it in, but for Indiana, you have to take advantage of this opportunity.
Beaumont left alone in the corner in front of her bench, and she drains a 3. Back-to-back triples for Indiana. And all of a sudden, they're right back into this one. Amy Williams calls the timeout. 53-41. An 18-point lead for Nebraska has suddenly vanished to 12. Exactly 5 to go in the third quarter. And we'll take a timeout on the floor. Don't go anywhere. This one's getting interesting. You're listening to KRNU Sports presentation of the 2026 Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament. Welcome back into Gainbridge Fieldhouse alongside Beck Frazier. I'm Harmon Johnsen. Indiana on a 6-0 run over the last 30 seconds. Nebraska still leads 53-41, but they forced Amy Williams to take her first timeout.
Yeah, and I said it during halftime. I wouldn't be shocked if Indiana came out with their best quarter, hitting 20 points in this third. Right now they're up to 13. Their best quarter that they've had in terms of points is 15. Nebraska only with 8 points so far halfway through this third quarter. So if this holds, Indiana could be poised for a big fourth quarter.
Callan Hake will inbound to Britt Prince as we have 5 minutes left here in the third quarter. Nebraska trying to re-spark that offense they had in the first quarter. Some bodies get caught up near the top of the key. Prince looks inside Hargrove. Does she get to 20? No, it rattles out. Still stuck at 19. Rebound hauled in by Indiana. Chance to cut it to single digits with a tray. Up at the top, it's Beaumont. She resets, being hounded by Kennedy Williams. Now Shea Chesky relieves pressure. Williams switches on to her. Makaluski, one of the two that's hit a 3. Looking for Noyan. Now she hands off to Chesky. Chesky drives, and a reach-in foul going to be called on Jess Petrie. But no. Yes. Jessica Petrie with the foul. The officials were confused about something. They were having a discussion.
Yeah, it's just Petrie's first timeout. As looks like, I think the officials are confused. As it's now, this is a media timeout.
This is the media timeout. We had our first timeout was a called timeout. That's how it works here in women's basketball. Is the first called timeout of the quarter, or the half rather, and the second half is a media plus the first break under 5. So I guess we're going right back to break. We'll be back. 53-41. Score hasn't changed. You're listening to the 2026 Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament on KRNU Sports on YouTube. Welcome back into Gainbridge Fieldhouse after the media timeout. I'm Harmon Johnsen, Beck Frazier to my left. 53-41, Nebraska leads as Indiana will have the ball out of the timeout. It was a foul on Jess Petrie that sent us to the break. Looked like a little bit of a reach in at the top from on Chesky.
Yeah, just getting a little too aggressive. It was an awkward pass for Indiana. Chesky, she almost actually lost the ball, so I think that's why Petrie went in to try and pick the ball out. But by that time, Chesky had corralled it and then just tried to start the play.
We were waiting for Peacock to come back from break. Now we're ready. As up at the top of the key, Caffey driving against Britt Prince. Looking to the top of the key for Chesky. Kennedy Williams guards her. Now underneath, no yawn, left unmarked. That's pretty similar to what happened with Amaya Hargrove in the first half, as now Indiana has cut it to 10.
Well, and if you're Indiana, you've left Amaya Hargrove open, so now try and get your own players open for Nebraska. You can't do that.
Britt Prince tries an answer three, no good. Rebound falls into the hands of Haley Weaver, as hitting the deck was Caffey. Prince reloads. She's short off the front iron. And now Indiana moves it in front with Chesky. Looking underneath, a near travels. A lot is happening on the floor, and Britt Prince is going to get called for a blocking foul as the ball was already in the hands of Haley Weaver.
Now, I don't know about you, Harmon, but that's one of the latest fouls I've seen called ever. I mean, the play was long over by that point.
So the Hoosiers with it on the baseline. Chance to cut it to single digits. Caffey looking at Prince. Looking for Noyen inside. Kennedy Williams gets a hand on it. It's into the backcourt. Shea Chesky jumps over Williams to avoid a trip. Back into the front court we go with 10 seconds. Driving inside Caffey. Now kicks it up to the top. Driving with 5 is Beaumont. She'll get it off the side of the rim. No good. And after all that, the Hoosiers come up empty. Williams slowly across the timeline to Haley Weaver, standing in front of the scorer's table on the far sideline. Looking inside Hargrove, still with 19 points, puts up a shot, too strong off the backboard. Chesky passes it ahead to Beaumont on the left side. Beaumont behind the back, but too far as Haley Weaver steals it away. A turnover fest here in the middle part of the third quarter.
And now you're seeing Nebraska slow the pace down, get everything under control. Your lead was 17, it's been cut to 10. She's got to regain composure here.
Hargrove with the 3 on the way. Off the side of the rim on the right. No good. Defensive rebound for Indiana. Pushing it ahead. Makaleski puts it through. It's now 8 points, the lead for Nebraska. Here come the Hoosiers. Kennedy Williams brings it across the timeline. Weaver gets it to Prince. Nebraska trying to score.
They haven't scored in the last 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
Prince recycles with 10 on the shot clock between the circles. Looking for Petrie. She pump fakes. Now she drives to the right side. Cutting is Williams, and Petrie gets called for an offensive foul. Taking the charge, Lene Beaumont. Petrie had a shot, but decided to kick it out, and it results in a foul.
Yeah, and now that's the 5th foul of the quarter for Nebraska. So Indiana looking pretty good here for the last 2 minutes.
The Cornhuskers have come unwound here in the third quarter. Leading at halftime by 17. They had it up to 18 here in this third quarter. It's now 8. 53-45. Nevaeh Caffey trying to keep up this hot streak for the Hoosiers. They're on a 10-0 run in the last 3.5 minutes. Caffey looking for a screen from Nguyen. Now at the top of the key, Chesky gets a handoff. Working against Bojan. Now across court, the pass goes. Beaumont driving in. Ball loose on the deck. Nguyen picks it up. It's loose again, and it's off of, looks like Nebraska.
Yeah, not exactly sure who it went off of. There were about 4 different Huskers underneath the basket.
Chuck Gonzalez was spreading dollar bills with his hand signals underneath the basket. Eventually is Indiana basketball as Makaleski checks back in. 3 players on the right side of the stack. Beaumont alone on the left. Chesky gets a 3 off the inbound, no good. Rebound hauled in by Callan Hake. Best look of the day so far for Chesky. Bojan looking inside for Hargrove. She's been shut down here in this quarter. Bojan passes up a 3, gives it to Britt Prince at the free throw line. Extended jumper, good. 55-45, Nebraska lead back up to 10. Britt Prince breaks the scoreless streak of nearly 4 minutes. 1:21 to go until the fourth quarter. Caffey looks for Chesky. Britt Prince switches onto her defensively. Chesky driving into the middle of the lane. Nearly travels, kept her foot down on the B in Big Ten, and now she does travel as she got the ball back and took an extra step.
Yeah, for Indiana, you can start to feel the momentum shift back towards Nebraska. Even though it's been Nebraska's worst quarter so far today, just having that little bit of momentum towards the end of the third could help them, get them back over the finish line towards the fourth.
The painted area looks like a finish line here at Gainbridge Fieldhouse as Nisley works around the top of the key, under 60 seconds to go in the quarter, and a reach-in foul going to be called here on Shea Chesky as she was fighting with Britt Prince for the basketball. That's big.
That's foul number 3 on Shea Chesky, and so now, Indiana's not going to pull her. Head coach Terry Morin, she's not going to take her best player out, but now she has to play with a little more, or with a little less aggression from here on out.
It's win or go home here in the Big Ten tournament. Britt Prince gets it in the middle of the lane. Now Logan Nisley driving baseline, receives it from Prince. Bojan recycles it back up to Britt Prince at the top of the key, 7 on the shot clock. Nisley knows she needs to get a shot off, drives in 2 steps. The short jumper, no. Rebound into the hands of Leanne Beaumont. Lene Beaumont drives it towards the baseline on the right side, kicks it up to the top. Caffey crosses over Logan Nisley onto the right block, going underneath, doesn't do the up and under. Chesky looks inside for Nguyen, but it's kicked by Bojan. A fresh 20 on the shot clock for Indiana. 26 seconds to go until the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Chesky, I don't think meant to throw it off the foot of Bojan, but just happened. Bojan happened to be there, but now a reset here for Indiana to try and put something up towards the end.
Baseline out of bounds, struggling to get it in, and Nevaeh Caffey is going to call timeout. Terry Morin is going to have 1 timeout going into the fourth quarter as they struggled to get the ball in on the baseline inbound. So it's a short timeout. Indiana now has gone scoreless over the last 2 minutes or so. Nebraska is only one of their last 8. We've kind of hit a rut in the offensive category in this game.
Yeah, and it hasn't really been via any defensive metric. It's just been the teams aren't hitting their shots, and that just happens sometimes where, defensive breakdowns we've seen them in the past couple of minutes, but neither team's been able to put up shots. But I think the biggest notable for this quarter, Amaya Hargrove has gotten no points in this third quarter. She's 0 for 3 on shots, only 3 shots here today. She came into the quarter 8 for 9, and now 8 for 12 on the day. She still leads the game in total points at 19, but Indiana's done a much better job this quarter of limiting the shots that she's been able to take.
So here we go. 26.3 on the game clock as the ball comes into Noyon. If you're Nebraska, even with the shot clock winding down, you still have a chance to get a shot off of a defensive stop. Chesky draining that timer as far down as she can go on the right side. Driving to the middle. Now she kicks it up. Makaleski looking inside Noyon. Bojan guarding her. It gets a friendly roll off the front of the iron. 6 seconds on the game clock. Prince pushing it ahead. Crosses behind her back. 2 seconds. 1 second. Bojan at the buzzer. Short. Could not get it to fall. And so we head to the fourth quarter after Indiana outscores Nebraska 19-10 in the third. They find themselves down by only 8, 55-47. 10 more minutes on the game clock when we come back. You're listening to KRNU Sports presentation of the 2026 Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament here on YouTube. Fourth quarter is upon us here in Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. The 2026 Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament here on KRNU Sports. That's Beck Frazier alongside myself. I'm Harmon Johnsen. Nebraska still leads at 55-47, but they were outscored by 9 in that third quarter, Beck. Just about how you predicted it.
Yeah, I said Indiana will probably come out with a 20-point third quarter and basically nailed it right on at 19 points. But for Nebraska, the biggest thing, you have to find a way to get into the paint. Indiana did a really nice job of limiting Nebraska's effectiveness from inside.
Hoosiers start with the basketball here in the fourth quarter as Shea Chesky works against a double team. Now at the top of the key, Nevaeh Caffey. Looking inside, Noyon's been the facilitator so far. She's been open on the pick and roll. Nebraska switches a lot. Driving inside is Caffey. It's off the hands of Britt Prince. The roll was opened by Noyon, but elected to go out of bounds. 9 seconds on the timer as we're 21 seconds into the quarter. So the inbound comes into Caffey. 7 on the timer, spins against Prince. Over on the left side, all alone, top of the key. Makaleski, too strong. Long rebound into the hands of Emily Fisher. And Britt Prince will slowly bring it across the timeline. 9 minutes and change to see whose season continues on to face Ohio State tomorrow. Up at the top of the key, Callan Hake. Prince swings it around to the near side to Emily Fisher. Again, Nebraska moving from right to left as we see it here. Hake driving towards her bench. Now back to the top of the key between the circles is Britt Prince. Works against Noyon. Shot clock winding down. 2 on the timer, 1. And this is stolen away by Indiana. And then a double dribble by Journey Kiyaku. She got going too quickly. Terry Morin is outrageously frustrated. And Nebraska gets the ball right back.
That is a big break for Nebraska after they failed to score on that last possession. But for Indiana, even though you get a break like that, it's a quick play. You have to keep your composure. You can't get moving too quickly, only down 8 when nobody scored in this first minute.
11 turnovers now for the Hoosiers, 9 for Nebraska. Nisley looking to inbound it. Gets it in just at the last second to Petrie, who goes all the way baseline, too strong off the left side. It falls off on the right.
We saw that happen a lot in the third quarter. Nebraska was still able to get a couple of looks, but just going, way too strong underneath the basket.
Chesky cuts all the way to the basket, short off the side iron, fought for underneath. Whose basketball? No signal yet, and now it's Nebraska's. Took a long time deliberating that, but eventually Nebraska gains the possession. 8:38 to go in this first game of the Big Ten tournament. Logan Nisley gets it up to Hargrove, top of the key. Driving with her left hand dribble. Prince curling all the way around the top. Thought Petrie was going to be cutting, but instead throws it into the hands of a waiting Chesky. Chesky goes over to Kiyaku over on the left side. Splits inside. The quick little shot is good by Odessa Noyan. Indiana continues to pull closer, 55-49.
They're on a 14-2 run going back into the third quarter.
Brett Prince driving, shot rejected. Husker fans wanted a foul. Hoosiers chance to get it even closer. Instead, Kiyaku loses it and then tumbles into the legs of Callan Hake underneath the basket. It's a foul on Kiyaku. Nebraska gets the basketball back.
That's now the second time this first 2 minutes that we've seen Kiyaku move a little bit too quick. You gotta slow it down sometimes. What do they say? Slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
That is some coach speak right there, Beck Frazier. 2 minutes gone by here in the fourth quarter. Ohio State awaits the winner. Britt Prince to Callan Hake, standing on the right elbow. Cutting inside, Nisley. Her mid-range floater good. 57-49, Nebraska re-extends the lead to 8.
Indiana is going to need a big fourth quarter here. Nebraska only has to do just enough to carry this into a victory to play tomorrow.
Cutting inside, hard off the window, Caffey, and she puts it through off the front of the iron. 57-51, a 6-point lead for Nebraska. Cornhuskers can try to bleed some clock, but they also have to score. Hake, left-hand dribble, over to the left elbow. Petrie going to tee up a long-range three. It's strong, and the rebound falls into the hands of Journey Kiyaku. Up the floor, Caffey, left side, middle of the lane, fouled and one! Nevaeh Caffey, the freshman, has pulled the Hoosiers back within 4. A chance for a one-possession game at the line upcoming.
A complete turnaround from what happened in the first half. Nebraska put up 29 points in the first quarter, and since then has only been able to put up 28.
Caffey, a 80% free throw shooter. Tough as nails at the line. It's a 3-point ball game. 7 minutes to play as the Hoosier faithful rise to their feet alongside those in scarlet and cream. What a game we've got to open the Big Ten tournament. Prince looking for Nisley, driving baseline with the left hand, gets bumped, puts the shot up and through. An up and under for Logan Nisley, and a chance for 3 points on the other end for Nebraska.
A lot of imitation going on throughout this game. We saw it in the third quarter. We're seeing it a little bit here in the fourth. But what did we say coming into this game? These teams are almost identical on paper, and you've seen them kind of go back to the mean, go back to how they've been playing so far this season.
88% free throw shooter misses, and so it's 59-54. Ahead to Noyan, ball bobbled, still loose. Noyan regains it underneath. Here's a shot by Beaumont. The three no good. Rebound into the hands of Nisley. Boy, the Hoosier faithful would have erupted had that gone through. 59-54. Still awaiting that first media timeout. Down inside Hargrove, right block. Looks to spin towards the middle. Instead, she'll kick it out to Prince. Now back to Hargrove. Recycle. Up with the right hand and puts it through as if Beaumont wasn't even there. 61-54. Nebraska trying to reestablish the interior presence.
Amaya Hargrove now up to 21 points on the afternoon.
Cornhuskers in front, 6 minutes to go. Kiyaku driving to the Big Ten logo in the paint. Now out to Beaumont, top of the key. Hargrove guarding her. Beaumont bumps with Hargrove. Now kicks it out to Kiyaku. The guard pulls up from the free throw line, and no foul called. Looked like a lot of contact. Instead, it's called a clean block by Britt Prince. as she'll haul in the loose change and bring it across the timeline. Kennedy Williams stands in front of her bench. Logan Nisley over in front of the scorer's table now. Getting a screen on the right side. She'll move to her left. Petrie down inside. Steps. Euro. Floater. Doesn't get a friendly roll. Who's it off of? It's off of Petrie on the fight with Noyon. And the Hoosiers get the basketball.
A little bit of contact in between both players there, but Indiana got to find a way to respond. You can't come away with no points on this next possession. You're only down 7. You've cut the lead by 1 here in the 4th, but you're slowly but surely running out of time.
Nevaeh Caffey has been the point guard all day, being guarded here by Kennedy Williams, trying to find a steal. Now it's into the hands of Chesky, moving around the horn. Beaumont with it in front of the scorer's table, and a foul going to be called on Kennedy Williams, it looks like, away from the basketball. The official signal has not yet been made to the scorer's table. The way Terry Morin reacted almost looked like that was against one of her Indiana Hoosiers. It is on Williams, though.
Yeah, Williams she fell down on the Big Ten logo, then came back up, tried to catch up with Chesky, and just got a little bit too physical around the neck area. That's what caused the foul.
Britt Prince will sit down for a few minutes as we get closer to the under 5 media timeout. Hoosiers with the basketball, moving to the top of the key with Makaleski. Now Beaumont being guarded by Logan Nisley on that left side wing. Chesky in between the circles looking for a screen from Noyon. Goes to the left. Petrie creates a wall for a moment. Chesky floats one with 5 on the timer and puts it through. 61-56, under 5 to go in this contest. Nebraska still in front. They've led the entire game. At one point it was 18. Hake kicks it out to Hargrove on the near side wing. Back to the top of the key, Hake. Looks at the timer. Has 10. Guarded by Chesky is Hake. Now Petrie has it at the free throw line. Petrie pump fakes to the right. Now steps to the left. Drives home too strong off the back of the backboard, but it's hauled in on a long rebound by Amaya Hargrove. Another chance on offense here for the Cornhuskers.
Yeah.
Williams slows it up.
So I was about to say, if you're Nebraska, you got to take every single second off the clock.
7 on the timer. Williams looks inside for Petrie, fading away at the free throw line, kicks the leg out, and puts it through the hole. 63-56, 4 minutes to go. Into the offensive front court, Caffey. Terry Morin barking orders from her bench. Caffey all the way back at the center logo. Hoosiers have had it down to as many as 3. Looking inside for Caffey, but instead Beaumont will kick it around the horn to Chesky. Chesky pump fakes, drives all the way to the rim, and puts it through with the right hand. Chesky continues her impressive day. She's up to 20 points. Still waiting on that media timeout. Amy Williams is going to call one of her own, though, to give everybody a breather before we finish out this game. 63-58. 3:38 to go in the 4th. And this once Nebraska-dominated contest has turned into a back-and-forth battle. We'll be right back. This is KRNU Sports presentation of the 2026 Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament here on YouTube. Welcome back inside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse for the 2026 Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament here on KRNU Sports. Beck Frazier to my left. I'm Harmon Johnsen. Nebraska 63, Indiana 58. the Hoosiers, 5 of their last 7 from the field, but Nebraska has still maintained that narrow lead. Right now going into the timeout, Amy Williams calling that timeout. You could have waited. You could have drained a few more seconds off the clock. I think Amy Williams, in her 10th year, knows that this is do or die time for her Cornhuskers.
That's about as perfect as you could have said it, Harmon. For this Nebraska team, this is a team trying to get back to Women's March Madness. And for Indiana, this is a team also trying to get back to Women's March Madness. And both of these teams right now are kind of on the outside looking in. There's no guarantee that if one of them loses this game, they're playing in a couple of weeks. If you win, sure, you put yourself in a better spot, but there's still no guarantee that you're going dancing.
Amy Williams all-time with the Cornhuskers is 8-9 at the Big Ten tournament. Means she's been here quite a while, but has not had as much success as she wanted. But more importantly for Williams, other than getting to move on and play Ohio State tomorrow, she would move ahead of Connie Yori for most wins at a Big Ten tournament in Nebraska history. Connie Yori went 8-4 with the Cornhuskers. It's a better winning percentage, but Williams and Yori, same amount of wins. Out of the timeout, Nebraska has the basketball moving from right to left, scoring on the end nearest to us here at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Floor tattooed with blue accents as cutting inside is Amaya Hargrove. Bodies hit the deck at the free throw line on the right side of the floor. This is going to be a foul on Indiana. And this will go on Makaleski.
So now that puts 3 Hoosiers at 3 personal fouls. Makaleski, Noyen, and Chesky. But Petrie and Williams for Nebraska also have 3.
Nisley looking to inbound it. She gets Prince on a curl, and another foul going to be called as the shot was on the way.
That's going to be on Chesky. That's her 4th.
The leading scorer for the Hoosiers now in some serious foul trouble. You can't pull her.
No, she's not getting pulled this late. If she hasn't been pulled already, she's not going to get pulled this late in the game.
So Britt Prince will go to the free throw line. We already mentioned the record she set earlier this year in conference play. Against Rutgers, though, did miss 3 free throws. Makes the first one here. A 90% free throw shooter at one point, and probably is still true now. She was one of 3 players, 2 of which in the Big Ten, that were shooting 50% from the field, 40% from 3, and 90% from the free throw line as she sends the second one home. Prince coming into this game had a 54% field goal percentage and 45 from 3. So very impressive year for Britt Prince, who was a first and a second team all Big Ten, depending on which poll you look at. Kennedy Williams checks back in. 65-58, Nebraska leads with 3 minutes and 15 seconds to go. Over on the left wing, Caffey. Chesky falls down, wanted a foul, wasn't called. Caffey driving against Bojan. Bojan stops, and a foul going to be called. Bojan had her arms up, but maybe a little bit of a hit check on the way as Petra Bojan called for the infraction.
Yeah, both teams are dangerously close to putting their opponents in the bonus here. Indiana only 1 foul to give, or no, they have no fouls to give. Nebraska only with 1, but now for Bojan, she picks up her 2nd.
Nevaeh Caffey makes the first free throw. We mentioned it earlier, an 80% free throw shooter. 6 of her last 7 games in the season, she scored in double figures as the second free throw swirlies 3 times before going through the nylon. She had 10 all season. Looking at her numbers today, Caffey up to 11. 65-60, 3 minutes to go until we're done with game 1 of the Big Ten tournament. Britt Prince kicks it up to the top of the key for Logan Nisley, driving with her left hand. Petrie working against Noyan. Now back out to Nisley, back inside to Petrie. Noyan and Petrie one-on-one. Petrie spins to the left side, off the backboard and in. 67-60. Nebraska in front by 7. Chesky brings it up the floor on the left side. Beaumont up to Caffey. Hoosiers trying to find the answer to get back to that 3-point deficit they had a few minutes ago. Caffey hesitates, kicks out. Beaumont, corner 3, pure! 67-63, the lead is 4 for the Cornhuskers.
That 3 definitely helps Indiana. For Indiana, if you're trying to take the lead this late, every shot has to go in.
Britt Prince is across the timeline. Petrie has it at the top of the key. Hargrove bump, they get it to Prince. Now they get it to Hargrove. Right side block, she's double teamed, loses the basketball. Shea Chesky comes away with it. Hoosiers with a chance to cut it even closer. A cutting down the lane is Makaletsky, and she puts it through. 2-point ball game with under 2 to play, 67-65.
It hasn't been a 2-point ball game since Britt Prince's first points of the afternoon.
The last time these two teams met was in Lincoln earlier this year on January 8th. Nebraska won 78-73. Hake going to line up a 3 for an answer, no. Rebound to the Hoosiers. Caffey hauls it in. Chance to tie or take the lead. Essentially the hometown team slowing things up with 1:24 to go. Caffey standing on the B in Big Ten at the center logo. Hake guarding her. 4 players in the painted area. Chesky guarded by Prince. Looking for a screen on the left side, refuses it. Now the roll for Nguyen. Hargrove defends that. Here's a 3 from Beaumont for the lead! 68-67, 60 seconds to play. Timeout Amy Williams as Britt Prince brings it across the timeline. An 8-0 run over the last 1:30 for the Hoosiers. They're 5 of their last 5, and there's drama here in the first game of the Big Ten tournament.
First lead of the afternoon for Indiana after they go down 45-28 at the half. They have scored 40 points in this second half. They have played arguably the best second half of their entire season in the past 19 minutes.
Nebraska was up 67-60 just a few short minutes ago. And the Hoosiers, with help from Caffey, Beaumont, and Chesky, 11, 14, and 20 points respectively. Wow.
A complete 180. And what did we say at the halftime? Would not be at all surprised if Indiana comes out in the second half, especially the third quarter, with a fire lit in that locker room. Whatever was said by head coach Terry Morin, or what one of the players said, Nebraska blows a 20-point lead late in the second quarter and is now down 68-67.
I wouldn't have it any other way to start off the Big Ten tournament. The 12 and the 13 seeds, number 5 Ohio State awaiting the winner of this one tomorrow in the second game of action. There's 57.2 on the game clock. Callan Hake receives the basketball in the backcourt and brings it across. Huskers need a basket. They've struggled offensively in the second half. Britt Prince gets a screen from Petrie, pulls up from mid-range, short off the front of the iron. Rebound fought for, it's in the hands of Caffey. Now what do? His hands are in everywhere, and a foul going to be called on Logan Nisley to send Indiana to, no, not yet. 4 personal fouls on Nebraska, so still a chance to play defense.
But Nisley's third.
Nisley picks up her third. Terry Morin's team has completed a near impossible comeback. At one point, this lead was 20. 68-67, 42.2 on the timer. Getting it in is Nguyen. She's going to bring it up the floor. Trying to foul her was Nebraska. Now Chesky has a wide open lane to the basket, and Indiana up by 3.
If you're playing a full court defense, you can't leave the paint open on the other end.
That will force Amy Williams to take a timeout. Her last, as the Cornhuskers down a triple, 70-67. A 10-0 run over the last 2 minutes for the Hoosiers.
If you're Nebraska and you're going to play a full court defense or full court press, you can't allow Odessa Nguyen to just walk up to the half court timeline, and 2, pass it off to Chesky and then leave the lane wide open.
Well, and I think Petrie was trying to foul Nguyen at the half-court stripe because Indiana will be in the bonus for the rest of this game, the last 28 seconds. They were trying to put, statistically, the worst free throw shooter on the floor at the line, down only by 1. Instead, you don't get to foul right away, and now it's a 3-point deficit.
I get the thought process there from Petrie, but at the same time, you're only down 1. sure, you send the statistically worst free throw shooter for Indiana to the line, but, what if Indiana makes both? You're still down by 3. So now you've got 28 seconds to try something.
3-second differential shot in game clock. The game clock reads 28.1. The shot clock leads 25. Haight gets it in to Britt Prince. What do we have over the last 20 seconds here in this contest? Prince driving. Petrie, she's going to try a 3 with plenty of time. It rims off the side. Hargrove puts it up, and she puts it through. 70-69. Nebraska needs to foul. Nebraska needs to foul as they let Caffey dribble it out. Finally, Callan Hake and Britt Prince come together in the backcourt to foul. Nebraska's defense had headed to the back end of the floor.
I don't know what you're doing there. If you're Nebraska, you have to foul. I mean, as you kept saying, you can't just allow Indiana to sit there and bleed clock. I mean, that was 7 seconds of clock that just bled off for Indiana for doing nothing, for keeping it on the back end of the court.
And now the officials will check something.
They're probably
going to check scores table.
Probably going to check the clock here, would be my guess.
13.7 is what the clock reads right now. And yeah, that's what they announced here in the venue was a timing error.
I think the clock stopped a little early.
Well, I think everybody in the arena was anticipating a potential Nebraska foul.
Yeah, I still don't understand why. I mean, they didn't even. You looked like you were in a full court press, but then it almost felt like they backed off into a half court press, which at that point, just foul. If you're gonna send most of your team back, you have to foul. You have to send somebody to foul. And Britt Prince was the first person to realize that nobody else was coming to foul, and the clock is just ticking. Sure, Indiana probably would have gotten a violation eventually, but they would have just chucked the ball down the court and hoped somebody was down there to grab it.
70-69, the Hoosiers lead. Collective time leading in this game has got to be under 60 seconds.
At this point, it would be, right? They're at about 60 seconds right now.
They took the lead about 65 seconds ago. As it's just been an impressive comeback to this point. Chesky with 22 points. Go figure from your leading scorer.
Indiana took the lead 53 seconds ago in terms of game clock.
They're still looking at the game clock to see how much time we need to either put back on or take off here. Either way, somebody you don't want at the free throw line going to be there for Indiana, or for Nebraska rather, is the only person on the floor that has a below 80% free throw mark is Odessa Noyon.
Well, and you see that in the average for Indiana. They're the second best free throw shooting team in the Big Ten at 80%. That is an exceptional team rate.
So for Nebraska, out on the floor for the free throws will be Britt Prince, Logan Nisley, Callan Hake, Amaya Hargrove, and Jessica Petrie. On the floor for Indiana will be Nevaeh Caffey, Shea Chesky, of course. Odessa Noyon is out there, along with Lene Beaumont and Maya Makaleski, the core five that has played most of this game, with some stints in there by Journey Kiyaku. We have not seen anybody else on the Hoosier bench today.
Yeah, credit where credit is due to this Indiana team. I mean, I don't know how you have basically 4 players play all 40 minutes and you end up playing better.
And so they're going to take time off of the clock. It stopped prematurely. There will be 12.2 on the game clock. Shot clock obviously dark. And now free throws for Indiana. As you mentioned, Beck, second best free throw shooting team in the conference. Nebraska is the third best. As Nevaeh Caffey, 80% from the stripe, rattles the first one home. Bounced twice. She's a perfect 4 for 4 from the stripe. Chance for a three-point lead. Got it. 72-69. Here comes Britt Prince. Clock ticking under 10. Now with 8, Prince wide open on the wing. Shot is short. Rebound Prince. Nisley looking on the buzzer, no good. Put back Hake. The basket's no good. And the Hoosiers come back from 20 down to stun Nebraska in the first game of the 2026 women's basketball tournament. The Hoosiers led for a collective minute 30 in the contest. And they get it done 72-69 in Indianapolis.
Harmon, I hate to correct you there. Your minute 30 is a little generous. It was only a minute and 3. A minute and 3 seconds. But what do you say? In basketball, it's like in any sport. You can lead the entire time, but what matters is when you're leading when the clock strikes 0.
Looking at the numbers in this one, we'll dive into this as we continue our postgame. Indiana ended the game on a 12-2 run. They were 6 of their last 6 from the field. The Cornhuskers struggled from the field, 1 of their last 7. That one being the putback by Hargrove to cut the deficit to 1.
For Indiana, you can talk about individual plays, for the rest of this time, right? I think the most impressive thing about how this game ended is Indiana's ability to adjust to the way Nebraska wanted to shoot the ball. And you saw it in the second half. Indiana only gave up 24 Nebraska points in the second half. And need I remind you, dear listeners, for maybe a 5th time today, Nebraska scored 29 points in the first quarter. They only scored 40 after that. You can't do that in the Big Ten tournament, but credit where credit is due. Indiana made the adjustments. They started, instead of shooting the 3 ball a ton, Harmon, they only had 13 attempts from beyond the arc. That is incredible. And they only made 5 of them. They had 24 shots come from within the arc that they made, and that was the bread and butter. It wasn't working in the first half, but they made the adjustments. They started getting Nebraska out of position on defense, and on the other end of the court, their defense improved massively. We're talking about one of the worst defensive teams in the Big Ten in terms of every single metric. If you look at their opponent rankings, their opponents are beating them in quite a few different metrics here. Assists per game, steals per game, blocks per game. Opponents are scoring more field goals on the floor than Indiana is on the year. And somehow Indiana found a way to adjust to a Nebraska team that, and give Amy Williams credit, is a very good Nebraska squad. They just haven't been able to put wins like this down the stretch. We saw that earlier when they played Michigan State and Wisconsin. They were winning in both of those games. And you win both of those games, you're playing in tomorrow's 8-9 matchup.
Looking at this game, Indiana finished, like I mentioned, on that 12-2 run. They did not sub a bench player in for the last 5 minutes and 30 seconds of that contest. They won with their core 5 and got the job done against Nebraska, who had the win earlier this year. They had to have felt pretty good coming off of back-to-back wins over Washington and then Rutgers. And in the first neutral site meeting of these two teams, Indiana takes down the Cornhuskers to advance to the next round of the Big Ten tournament tomorrow.
Well, and you talk about Indiana, right? This is a team that had their core 5 locked from the very beginning. It was going to be Lene Beaumont, Maya Makalewski, Nevaeh Caffey, and Shea Chesky. Zanaya Sakanuman was that 5th starter. She was going to be that 5th staple. Then she goes down. Odessa Noyan has stepped into that role perfectly for Indiana. Sure, she's not getting all of the minutes like the other 4 are, but she's still earning her minutes. 5.5 points per game, 5.5 rebounds per game. She's become the rebounding machine that Indiana needs, and she picked up a double-double today with 10.
Final stats in this one. as we look at the split box here in Gainbridge Fieldhouse, Indiana. 6 players on the floor. Every one of them scored, led by Shea Chesky with 22. Lene Beaumont had 14. Caffey with 13. Noyan had 12 down the stretch. Makaleski with 9. So 4 of your 5 starters score in double figures. That's usually a recipe for success. Chesky, Caffey, and Noyan played all 40 minutes in this contest. They shot as a team in the second half. Lights out. Just absolutely lights out. On the game, though, 51% from the field. They shot only 38% from 3, but given how they made those and when they made those, they had back-to-back clutch threes in the middle part of that fourth quarter. 12 turnovers for them, 9 of 11 from the charity stripe, 40 points in the paint of their 72. Just an overall great comeback by the Hoosiers. For Nebraska, they will end their season for now in Indianapolis. There's looks at maybe an outside of the WBIT and very, very
they need
slim
a lot
chance
of they need a lot of help to make March.
Of March Madness. So it's kind of up in the air for Nebraska right now as to where they'll be come a week from now. But for them today, Amaya Hargrove, 23 points. She was 3 off of a career high. She was held pretty quiet there in that last half of the game. Britt Prince had 20, usually has around 20, just couldn't get the job done today. Logan Nisley with 12, 2 of 6 behind the arc. Jess Peachy with 10. The only other player with points today for Nebraska was Emily Fisher with 2. Cornhuskers shot 42% from the field. That was way down after shooting nearly 60% in that first quarter.
68% in the first.
3-point field goal percentage, 23%. Free throws, they only shot 80%, 8 of 10. 11 turnovers for them. Points in the paint, 40 as well. So this game was won on the arc, really. One more 3 essentially was the difference. As the Cornhuskers, for now, finished the year 18-12. They fall to 3-1 at neutral sites and 7-12 in the conference. Indiana improves to 18-13. They're now 6-12, playing Big Ten foes, 2-1 on neutral sites, and they will move on to tomorrow's second game of the day, taking on number 5 Ohio State at around 1:30 local time, 1:30 Eastern. They also improved their series lead over Nebraska 14-7. And of course, I just mentioned first meeting on a neutral floor. Beck Frazier, your final thoughts before we wrap it up from Indianapolis. It's a shame we don't get to do more games here, but I'd say it was a pretty good way to start the tournament here.
Yeah, and in terms of the game as a whole, it was, from a fan perspective, probably everything you could have asked for. You had massive leads. You had, giant turnarounds from really both squads. But for this Indiana squad going forward in this tournament, they get a tough Ohio State opponent tomorrow. And that's not an easy win, but they're a team looking outside of March right now. This win is going to help that. I still think they're on the outside looking in. If they can knock off a team like the Ohio State Buckeyes, they could potentially put themselves into a last 4 in or, next 4 in position where, they don't have to wonder if they're going to be playing in March. But for Nebraska, this loss is going to hurt. And it's going to there have been a couple losses like this. We mentioned the Michigan State and Wisconsin losses earlier this year where Nebraska was 11-0 at one point this season. And then they finish what could be their season at 18-12. You finish the season 7-12, that you can't finish the season like that.
Amy Williams was looking to try to secure a 3rd straight 20-win season for our Cornhuskers. Could not get it done. Needed to do it here in the tournament. Before we wrap up, a couple of thank yous to mention before we sign off the air. Again, a huge thank you to Jamie Wentz, our chief engineer, for getting us set up with the gear. Thank you to Bill Dolman for getting us in the door, getting us connected with the Big Ten. And a huge thank you to the Big Ten staff here, the Big Ten communications staff in Gainbridge Fieldhouse for getting us in the door, getting us a spot. And it was really fun to be here in really the most meaningful basketball of the year. I don't care how you start, how you do your regular season. This is where you have the most fun as a team. And it can be really, really high like we see Indiana right now. And a loss for Nebraska is really going to sting. They're going to have some motivation going into next year, even if they are allowed to continue in the postseason.
Yeah, it's, even if they don't make if they don't make March, it's probably going to hurt for a couple players. Like, I think the player it's probably going to hurt the most for is Callan Hake. The amount of work that she has put into this Nebraska program and where it was just a couple of years ago to where it is now is in large part, credit to her. She's been a starter all 4 years, definitely the past couple of seasons. She started every single game for Nebraska, and for her playing any game after today it's going to feel good, but you have to know that she wanted this run to mean something towards the end.
We will see how the postseason favors Nebraska. We'll see how Indiana does tomorrow against Ohio State. There's a game warming up right now on the floor. It's Wisconsin, Illinois. Purdue, Oregon round out today. We're going to take in some basketball and then make the trip back to Lincoln for a busy weekend with state tournament. And then, obviously, next weekend, more boys action as well. Who knows? You might even catch Beck and I on the radio on Saturday for a state tournament game. We don't know yet. We'll find out when we get back to Lincoln. Our final thank you goes out to you, the listeners. Thanks for finding us here on YouTube. I know we peaked probably at around 70 or 80 listeners there at the back end of the game, so thank you for finding us and continuing to support us. Hopefully, if you're still listening to us, you can go switch over to KRNU 2 or to Mixler and listen to our state basketball coverage that should be going on here shortly. And obviously we'll have baseball and softball this weekend as well to look forward to before we do it all again next week with the men's tournament, the boys tournament back home, and baseball and softball. For my broadcast partner, Beck Frazier, I'm Harmon Johnsen signing off from Indianapolis in Gainbridge Fieldhouse saying stay safe, have a wonderful rest of your afternoon and a great evening, and we'll talk to you next basketball season, or who knows, maybe Saturday. You've been listening to KRNU Sports presentation of the 2026 Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament. Final score in this one, Indiana 72, Nebraska 69. Cornhuskers season could or could not be over. Have a great night, everybody. We'll talk to you next time. You've been listening to KRNU Sports.